A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, now we prepare to look in once more at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Ace, now married 8 years. It's just after dinner, and Jane is in the kitchen with the dishes. Mr. Ace has lighted his after-dinner cigar and has settled down to a maze of bills and figures pertaining to household expenses. He seems helpless as he mutters to himself. Listen.
Isn't this awful? I don't know what she can be thinking of to let... Jane? She's fixing to be one of the best-dressed women in the bread line. I never, Jane! Look at this bill. I've got to have a heart-to-heart talk with her. I've got to call a halt somewhere. Jane, come here a minute, will you?
What did you say?
I've been calling you, dear. Can't you hear?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you the first 2 times.
How do you know I called you the 2 times before you heard me?
Beg pardon?
How did you know I called you twice before you heard me?
Well, you got me there.
Yes, I got you. You didn't want to hear me. You knew this was the night I go over these household accounts again, so you conveniently stand out there in the kitchen. No dishes to do because Laura's doing them.
Well, I thought of sure just how to do it.
You hired Laura to take care of all that work. You must know that there's going to be a lot of fuss made about these bills, didn't you?
Oh, dear, please don't start that again. I'm doing the best I can.
Yes, doing the best you can to ruin us. What's the matter with you? Can't you run a home on a business-like basis? Every month it's the same. Look, Jane, sit down. Come on. No, not there. Over here by this desk. Sit here.
I'm not tired, dear.
Will you sit down? I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you.
Oh, all right. What about?
About these household bills. They've got to be budgeted or we'll be living from hand to mouth.
What, which do you want to talk about, hand to mouth or heart to heart?
Just sit back and let's talk this over calmly because we're going to have this out all the way through now.
Now what?
Well, no, I won't start out by waving these bills at you. I've done that almost every month now. It doesn't do any good. I just want to know one thing. Do you, well, look, Jane, how much do you think, just offhand, I mean, how much would it take you to run this house every week?
How much what?
How much money?
Oh, I don't know. How much?
I'm not asking riddles. I'm trying to find out from you. You ought to know what it costs for dinners, for laundries, for all the things that it takes to run this house efficiently. You've been spending the money. How much do you think it ought to cost you? I want to know just how much you figure the expenses of this house should run. For you and for me. And for Marge. Not counting the $10 she pays you every week for her room and board.
Oh, in other words, you want to know just how much money...
What other words? There are no other words. I've used them all. Now, look, Jane, I want you to start running this house on a business-like basis. I'm turning this desk over to you. This desk and this brand-new book to keep your accounts in. This one. See?
Oh, Bridget.
Budget.
Oh, yes.
I'm turning this whole thing over to you. This is your home. I want you to feel that it's as if it's your business. Just as I have my office, you have your home. I run my office on a business-like basis. We know every cent we spend. We know every cent that comes in. At the end of the week, we know where we stand. Now, that's going to be your job here. You're the boss. Now, all I want to know is just how much money you're going to need to run the house.
Well...
Now, wait a minute. I want you to know first that the figure has to be within reason. After all, you know I don't make $1,000 a week.
Well, that's just it. I don't know how much you do make. You never tell me. Every time I ask you about business, you don't want to talk about it.
Well, you know that we're making a living. I mean, I average, say, about $100 a week. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but on the whole, it comes to about $100 a week. Now, out of that, I've got things to pay off, insurance and taxes and, Now, I feel that a part of that should be turned over to the running of the home. And above all, that part should be a fixed sum. I mean the same every week, not like this week. Look at this, a bill for $4 for an end table.
Yeah, well, you know about that. I told you we ought to have another little end table over there by that chair.
I know, Jane, but you remember I asked you how much it would cost? You said you could get one for $5. I gave you the $5. I gave you cash to pay for it. Now I get a bill for it, $4 for an end table.
Oh, well, that's all right, dear. Forget about the dollar. You can owe it to me.
Oh, you what? I gave you $5 cash. What happened to it? You didn't pay for the table.
Well, I started Hammond's for $4, and I charged it.
That's it. That's just the point. You charged it. Now you're coming to the point I'm trying to bring out. From now on, there'll be no charging of anything. I'm going to give you a fixed sum every week to pay for everything. If you do it right, you might even be able to save something out of it. Other women do it, and you can too. It's very simple. You budget yourself. You don't spend more than you can afford.
Oh, that's old-fashioned, dear. Everybody spends more than they can afford.
Well, we won't have to. You can figure out ways to cut down here and there. You'll want to figure out ways when you start keeping books. That's what this book's for.
You mean if I read that book, I can learn how to save money?
You can't read this book. Look, it's blank. Look, just blank pages, all ruled off.
Well, why do you want me to waste my time with a blank book?
It's a budget. You're not wasting your time. You write in this book just where the money goes, just how much you spend, how much you take in. You'll write in the amount I give you every week and the amount Marge gives you every week. If you sell some old clothes or anything, you make an entry in the book. And you also write down what you spend. You keep track. And if you do that on a strictly business basis, you'll be surprised to find you might even have a profit at the end of the week.
A profit?
Yeah, you know what a profit is, profit and loss.
Oh, sure. Profit is the money you make, and loss is the money you don't.
Yes, profit is, you know what a profit is anyhow. The way you've been running things up until now, there hasn't been any profit. Now, how much money do you think you can run the house on every week? How's $25?
$25?
Yes, you ought to do it easily with that.
You mean you'll give me $25 every week?
I will every week. But out of that, you pay for everything. I don't even have to look at any bills at the end of the week. You've taken care of all that and kept track in this book.
Oh, that would be wonderful. $25 a week.
Maybe I should have said 20.
Why, I could even save money out of that, I guess. Not very much, though.
Well, sure you could. If you cut down on expenses here and there, you'll be finding yourself wanting to do it once you get into the swing of running the home like a business.
Yeah, I guess I could.
Why, you're talking. I knew if I made you see that it's your responsibility, you could see your way clear.
Oh, but this $25 isn't for clothes, too, is it?
Oh, no, just for running the home and odds and ends. You're in charge from this minute on. I'll take care of these bills here from last week. I'll pay every one of them, and you can start with a clean slate.
With a clean budget book, you mean?
Yeah, with a clean budget book. Here, I'll take all these bills up and write checks for them all in the morning. And that's the last batch. From now on, you're boss. There. Come on. The desk is yours. Move in.
Now?
Yeah, from this minute on. This is your office, you might say. Sit here.
All right. I'm going to be able to save a lot of money if I try.
That's the spirit, Jane. Now, what's the day? Tuesday. Well, every Wednesday I give you $25 and you take the money.
You know what, dear?
What?
You could go on a diet.
On a diet?
Yes, you're getting a double chin anyhow, and look at the way...
Now, look, Jane, enough of that. $25 is a lot of money. You don't have to start cutting down on my food. I'm talking about cutting down on other things, like charging end tables after I give you the cash. And that's another point you've got to remember. The $25 a week is all you get.
Oh, and the $10 Marge pays me every week.
Yes, well, that's $35 you've got to run things here.
You know what?
What now?
How about raising Marge's room and board?
Raising it? Oh, Jane.
Isn't it marvelous how businesslike I've gotten all of a sudden?
Well, she's always paid us the $10, practically insisted on it. I never even wanted to take that.
Oh, sure. You don't want to take it. You don't have to pay for things around this house. I'm the one who has to make both ends meet and fish on Friday. It's easy enough for you to say you don't want to take it.
Wait a minute, Jane. You're running away with this idea.
Well, I don't care. This is my office.
Yes, but she's your best friend. I think $10 is enough.
Oh, sure, you think it is. But who has to write everything in this book? And who has
Wait a minute. She's been living with us here for about 3 years. She always paid $10 a week.
Well, 3 years ago isn't now. Look how much higher everything is.
Oh, she's not such an added expense.
Now, don't start telling me the three can live as cheap as one. You know, I'm going to talk to her about it. I won't ask her for too much more. Well, maybe $5 a week more.
Oh, I don't know if she can afford to pay that much more, Jane.
Well, she eats breakfast and dinner here.
Oh, a glass of orange juice and some coffee for breakfast. That's
well,
all.
do you know how much oranges are now and coffee?
No, how much?
Well, Well, I don't know exactly. Laura's been doing all the marketing, but from now on, I'm going to know. I'm going to have a long talk with Laura.
That's the idea. I don't think it's wise for you to let Laura do all the marketing.
Well, I'll tell her exactly what's happened, how I have charge of the office, and she'll just have to show me where every penny goes.
That's the idea. That's the way business is run.
I'm doing pretty good so far, huh?
Yeah, so far. We'll see at the end of the first week how well you've really done. Now, don't you start coming to me for money. You're on your own.
I am?
Absolutely.
Well, then don't start telling me not to ask Marge for more room and board money.
Well, that's your own problem. I doubt if there'll be anything doing there, anyhow.
You know, I might even make Laura take less. She gets $8. Now, I wonder if she'd work for $7.
Wait a minute. That's no way to run a business. I wouldn't go and ask my girl at the office to take a cut all of a sudden when there's no reason for it.
Well, you just run your office, and I'll run mine.
Oh, I don't know about that, Jane. This is the first time you've had charge of anything like this. You might listen to a few pointers from me. I told you ought to run this house like I do my office.
What? And go out and play pool every lunchtime?
Go out and play pool?
Oh, no, I haven't got time for
All
that.
right now, Jane, don't start getting personal.
No, Jane, leave out the pool at lunchtime. Even at that, we're afraid she's going to wind up behind the 8 ball. We'll learn more about this new household business venture when next we meet the Easy Aces.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call that the body of a dead woman has been found in a closet. There are no leads to her identification. The identity of the killer is unknown. Your job? Investigate. Here's what a leading tobacco publication and the nation's press have had to say about king-size Chesterfields.
Tobacco leaf. More calls for Chesterfield king-size cigarettes than for most brands being marketed.
And the Cleveland Press reported, dealers everywhere report the big pack sale phenomenal. Last week in Cleveland, some areas reported the long-size Chesterfield outsold all other brands.
The reason for king-size Chesterfield's amazing success is this. All king-size cigarettes give you quantity, but only Chesterfield king-size gives you quantity plus quality, premium quality.
That means Chesterfield king-size contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. Enough more of this tobacco to give you more than a 1/5 longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, April 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 11:36 a.m. when we got to the Greenleaf Apartment Hotel. Apartment 406.
Yes?
Police officers, ma'am.
Oh, yes, come in.
Thank you. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do?
How do you do, ma'am?
I'm Lorraine Holden. I'm the one who called you. Terrible thing, just terrible.
Yes, Miss Holden. If you just tell us what happened, if you could.
Well, Georgia, she's a maid. Well, Georgia was cleaning up in here. She finished the apartment, and then she thought she'd check the coat closet right here.
Mm-hmm.
She opened the door, and there she was on the floor.
Ma'am?
Dead woman. You can see for yourself. She's right there on the floor. Just terrible.
Where's this Georgia now, Mrs. Halden?
She's downstairs in my place. She's pretty broken up. Must have been a terrible shock to her. She let out a scream that must have had half the neighborhood on edge. I live down on the second floor in the rear. I thought at first that something had happened to Georgia. Oh, that girl's got a powerful set of lungs.
Yes, ma'am. Who rented this apartment from you?
I knew you'd ask that. I've got the receipt book right here on my apron. Just a minute.
Uh-huh.
I put a pencil on the page. Let's see. Yes, it is. Raymond Bartley. That's what he said. Bartley.
You know where this Bartley is now?
No, I don't. And that's another weird one. You know what I mean.
Ma'am?
Well, look in the closets. Look around the places. None of his clothes. Nothing that even tell you he was still here. He's got another week to go on his rent.
How's that, ma'am?
Well, moved in a week ago. You can see here on the receipt. Wednesday, April 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Paid me 2 weeks in advance. And you look around this place, and it don't look like he's going to be around here anymore.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea where he might be?
Oh, not the slightest.
Did he give you any indication that he was planning to move out?
Not the slightest, no, sir. I don't even have an inkling.
I'll call the coroner, Joe.
Okay. Better get in touch with the crime lab, too. Have them come out.
Okay. You mind if I use the phone, Mrs. Halden?
Well, not at all. It's right there back in the hall. A little shelf on the wall.
Thank you, ma'am.
You think Mr. Bartley did it? Do you think he killed the woman?
Well, we don't know, ma'am. Did Mr. Bartley rent this room by himself?
What? I don't understand.
Well, did he register as Mr. and Mrs.?
Oh, no, sir. Just plain Raymond Bartley.
Do you have any idea who the woman might be?
Oh, not the slightest. I never saw her before Georgia screamed and I ran in here.
Did you touch anything at all in the room here?
No. No, I know how policemen work. I've heard all about that. Don't touch anything department. No, sir, I didn't touch anything.
Uh-huh.
Put her on the way, Joe.
All right, fine. Miss Halden, have you ever seen the woman before?
No, sir, I haven't. Never saw her before. Just took a quick glance. Terrible, just terrible what they did.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you could give us a description of Mr. Bartley.
Well, that'd be kind of hard. Like I said, I don't pay a lot of attention to the people who live here. I just collect the rents and let it go at that. Once in a while, when George is sick, I come in and clean up. Those times I talk to him a little bit, but I'm not the nosy type. You know what I mean.
Could you tell us about how tall Bartley is?
Well, I have to think about that, too. I guess he was about as tall as you, maybe a little one way or the other.
How much would you say he weighed?
Well, he was kind of heavy-set little man. I guess he weighs about as much as my husband. That'd be 200 or so.
How about his coloring? Would you know?
Oh, there it goes again. I tell you, officers, I can't tell you too good. Mr. Bartley was kind of a crowd melter.
I beg your pardon?
A crowd melter. You put him in a crowd and he just melts away. You never pay any attention to him. You know what I mean.
Yes, ma'am.
Near as I can remember, he had kind of brown hair and blue eyes, I guess.
Was there anything peculiar about him? Did he have any scars, any marks, anything at all about him that'd make you remember him, make him a little easier to...
No, not a thing.
How about the way he talked? Could you tell where he was from?
No, he was just kind of an ordinary man, nothing special.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Bartley?
Well, let me see now. I think it was, yes, Monday night. He was coming in. I was just coming back from the grocery. It was about, 6:15. I said hello, and then he said the same hello, and then he went on upstairs, and I went to my apartment. That was the last time.
Did Mr. Bartley have any close friends in the building, you know of?
No, not that I can think of.
Well, did he ever say where he worked or what he did for a living?
No, not that I remember.
Well, how about references? Did he have any?
No, I didn't ask for any.
You know if he drove a car?
It seems so stupid. Seems like I know the answers to any of your questions. I don't know about if he drove a car or not. We don't have any garages in the building. He might have, and I wouldn't know it. I just didn't pay any attention. You know what I mean.
Well, did he get any mail while he was here? Would you know that?
No, sir, nothing.
We'd like to talk to Georgia if we could.
Sure, I'll ask her to come up here. Poor thing's so upset. It's terrible. It's the first time anything like this has happened to me. First time anything like this has happened in the place. I don't understand it. I never bothered the tenants, never caused them any trouble. I don't even know this Bartley. Why do you have to do a thing like this to me? Why me?
Well, I don't know, ma'am. Why her? The crime lab crew got there and went over the apartment. Photographs were taken of the room and of the position of the body. In going over the room, the crime lab came up with a probable murder weapon, a cast-iron poker standing in the fireplace rack. Brown hair, similar to the victim's, was found clinging to the metal. Dean Bergman lifted several partial and some full fingerprints from around the apartment and from the poker itself. He compared them with fingerprints of the maid and eliminated her as a suspect. He rolled the prints of the dead woman. Hers were eliminated from those found in the apartment. We talked to the maid and got the same story that we'd been given by Mrs. Halden. She was unable to add any information to what we already had. We talked to the neighbors in the building. None of them had had any dealings with the missing Ray Bartley. The woman in the apartment next to his told us that on the previous night at about 10:45, she had heard a woman's voice and a loud argument coming from the murder apartment but she said she hadn't paid any attention to it. 2:42 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
I'll call Bergman and see if he was able to identify the woman or make the other prints.
Yeah, right. I hope he's done some good.
Yeah. Dean Bergman, please. Hi, Dean. Frank Smith. Yeah, you been able to make those prints yet? Well, how about the ones in the poker? Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes, huh? Uh-huh. Right. Nothing on either of the women's or the ones he lifted from the poker.
Well, that helps, doesn't it?
He's sending them both on to Washington, see if they have anything.
Yeah.
Anything on him in R&I?
Well, I called down there. They're checking him now. I can't understand it.
What's that?
Well, how you can rent an apartment to somebody and not know what he looks like?
Well, like you said, the manager's probably minds her own business.
Yeah, well, I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
How about laundry marks? Yeah, how about the poker? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that figures, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, Lee, thanks a lot.
Anything?
Well, he's pretty sure the poker was the murder weapon.
Anything to identify the woman?
No, not a thing. Whoever did this sure knew what he was doing. Removed everything that could possibly tell us who she was.
That puts us in a good position.
Yeah, an unidentified body and an unknown killer. The report came back from R&I. There was nothing in the records on a Ray Bartley of that description. 3 other teams of men were assigned to assist in the investigation. We talked with everybody in the neighborhood around the apartment building. None of the storekeepers had noticed the missing man. None of them could give us any further information. An APB was gotten out carrying the name and description that we'd obtained. An APB was also gotten out on the dead woman. We checked with missing persons detail for a possible missing report on the victim. They said they'd let us know. The newspapers gave us their help, and in the following editions they carried pictures of the woman and requested that anyone knowing her identity should contact the police department immediately. 2 days passed. During this time, several people came in and said that they were sure that they knew the dead woman, but they were unable to identify her. Other leads were checked out, but led us nowhere. The manager and the maid came in and went through the mug books. No results. Monday, April 21st, 9:27 a.m.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh, hi, John.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Johnny.
You guys getting anywhere in this closet murder?
No, not a thing.
Well, I got a hunch. Maybe it won't go anywhere, but I thought you guys might want to check it out.
What's that?
We got a missing report from San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. Man up there said that his wife had come down here to see her sister. Said she never showed up.
Yeah.
We went out and talked to the sister. At the time, she wasn't too cooperative. You know, like she knew where her sister was all the time. I checked this description on the APB. Seems to me to match the description we got from both the husband and the sister.
Oh.
Like I said, it's just a hunch, but I thought you might talk to this woman. Might be able to come up with something.
What's her name?
Let's see. Allard, Myra Allard. Lives out in Hollywood Boulevard. You talk to her. See if you don't come up with the same thing we did.
Yeah, what's that?
She doesn't care if her sister's dead or alive.
Frank and I drove out to see Mrs. Myra Allard. She told us that her sister had written and said that she'd be down for a visit. On the day that she was supposed to arrive, the sister had phoned and told Mrs. Allard that she wouldn't be out that day, but that she'd met some friends on the train and that they were all going out on a sightseeing tour of the city. In talking to her, we got the same impression that she'd given John St. John of missing persons detail. We asked her if she'd go with us to see if the dead woman might be her sister. At first, she appeared reluctant, but when we gave her a full description of the body, she agreed to accompany us. She looked at the dead woman and burst into tears. Half an hour later, after she recovered from the shock, we talked to her in the interrogation room at the city hall.
It's Alice. There's no doubt about it. It's just terrible. My own sister dead.
Now, if you try to take it easy. Would you like another glass of water, Miss Allard?
No, thank you. It's not just finding her dead. I guess I always knew that Alice would end up like this. I never wanted it this way, but I always knew it in my heart.
How's that, man?
Well, to understand that, you'd have to know Alice. She was a beautiful girl, a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said that you heard from Alice when she got here in L.A., is that right?
That's right. She called right after she got off the train.
Mm-hmm. What'd she say to you then?
Well, as I told you, she said she'd met some friends on the train and they were going out to see the town.
Did she say who these friends were?
No, just said that they were going to pick up Ray and then go out in the town.
Ray?
Yes, Ray Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to call him when Alice didn't show up, but there wasn't any answer at his apartment.
Where does he live, ma'am?
Out in Hollywood. I think it's on Selma someplace. I have the address.
Mm-hmm. Who is this Fletcher?
Well, that's something I'm not very proud of.
Well, why is that, ma'am?
Well, he's a friend of my husband. Well, not really a friend in the real sense of the word. Sort of an acquaintance.
Mm-hmm. Well, why do you say that you're not very proud of it, ma'am? I don't understand.
Well, I sort of feel that it's all my fault.
I still don't think I understand, ma'am.
The divorce.
Oh,
Alice and Tom were on the verge of separating. Tom said that he'd come to just about the end of the line. Alice told me they used to have terrible fights. Anyway, she was down here one time. Let me see, I think it was about 3 months ago. She was terribly depressed. Said that she and Tom had been fighting for several weeks. A couple of times he'd hit her. Can't understand it, I really can't. I told Alice I didn't believe it.
Yes, ma'am.
She showed me the bruises all across her back and shoulders. She said that one night they were going over the bills, and Tom just seemed to go crazy. Started to rant and rave about how much they were in debt. Of course, I knew why. I told Alice so. I said that it was her fault for driving him, always asking for something new, something else.
Uh-huh.
She said that she told Tom that if he couldn't afford to keep it the way she wanted to live, that then she'd just have to find somebody who could. That's when he hit her. She left that night to come down here. They were terrible. I don't agree with her, but I don't think any man has the right to hit a woman.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she moped around the house for a couple of days. Said about how she was never going back to him. I felt kind of sorry for her, even though I don't agree with her. After all, she was my sister.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Well, that night my husband came home, and he brought this Ray Fletcher with him. Met him down at the office.
What'd you say, madam?
Down at the office. Ray works for the same company. He's a steward on the ship that travels up the coast from here to Washington. Anyway, my husband brought him home for dinner. Ray said that we should all go out to eat, so we did. We had dinner and a few drinks, and then Ray brought us home, and he and Alice went on. Alice didn't get in until almost 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, I see.
That night, Ray was here again. He and Alice went out that night, and for the next 4 nights in a row, every night out until all hours. I finally had a talk with her about it. Told her I didn't think Tom would like it, and that I wouldn't have her doing things like that while she was under my roof. That's when she told me that she was going to divorce Tom. That she and Ray were going to get married.
Uh-huh.
I told her I thought she was crazy. She didn't know what she was doing, but there wasn't any talking to her. She saw Ray every day. Then she went back up north to get things straightened out.
I see. Well, did she follow through with her divorce plans?
Well, as far as I know, she did. She wrote me and said that she talked to Tom about it and that they'd reached an agreement that he'd let her have her freedom.
Well, how did he seem to take all this?
Well, he called me one night and asked if I knew why Alice was leaving him. He didn't know about Ray. I told him all about it before. I thought that maybe Alice hadn't said anything about it.
What was his reaction to it?
I almost went crazy on the phone. Tom's a real jealous man. If he could have gotten through the phone wires, I think he'd have taken my head off. He screamed that I'd influenced his wife, that it was all my fault.
Well, why didn't you tell the officers from Missing Persons all of this when they were out there, ma'am?
I didn't want my husband to know about it. Then, too, I thought that it might be better if Tom didn't know where Alice was. But what he said, I thought it would be better if he never saw her again.
What's that, ma'am? That
night, we had the argument on the phone. He said that she'd never leave him.
Mm-hmm.
That he'd see her dead first.
The description of Ray Fletcher Mrs. Allard had given us tallied closely with that of Raymond Bartley. She also gave us his address and phone number. It was an apartment house in the southwest section of the city. Frank and I drove over, but found that he'd moved and left no forwarding address. We checked the apartment, but it had since been cleaned and occupied. Again, we ran into the same problem. No one could give us any information as to his whereabouts. We went back to the city hall and ran the name Ray Fletcher through R&I. There was no record on anyone answering his description. We contacted the shipping line where he was employed, and they told us that they'd pull his employment record out of the files and call us back. We contacted the San Francisco Police Department, gave them the full details of the case, and had them check on the movements of the victim's husband, Tom Hudson, as a possible suspect. 4:52 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the city hall.
Hudson sure got a motive.
Yeah. Well, we'll know more when we hear from the San Francisco Department, huh?
Here we go. I'll check the book.
Right. Anything?
Yeah, there's a message from the shipping company Fletcher works for. Wants us to give him a call.
Okay, what's the number? You got it there?
Yeah. Hollywood 26709.
Okay, I'll call it. Hollywood 26709. 09?
Yeah. Ask for Mr. August.
August. Mr. August, please. Oh, my name's Friday, Los Angeles Police Department. Oh, Police Department, yes, ma'am. Yes, he asked me to call. Mr. August, this is Sergeant Friday. You asked me to call you? Yes, sir, that's right. Raymond Fletcher. Mm-hmm. When was it? Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much, sir. If you think of anything else, we'd appreciate a call. Yes, sir, Michigan 5211. Right. Homicide, huh? Right. Thank you, sir. Bye. Well, we're doing real well.
What do you mean?
Fletcher sailed for Canada this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
These are the reasons thousands are changing to Chesterfield, and why you should change to Chesterfield.
Only Chesterfield gives you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Only Chesterfield names all its ingredients.
And only Chesterfield gives you scientific facts in support of smoking.
First such report ever published about any cigarette. A responsible consulting organization reports a study by a competent medical specialist and staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfields. For 6 months, a group of men and women smoked only Chesterfield, 10 to 40 a day, their normal amount. 45% of the group have smoked Chesterfields from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and end of the 6 months, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including x-rays, and covering the sinuses, nose, ears, and throat. After the examinations, the medical specialist stated,
"It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided."
Of course, these cigarettes were Chesterfields. Remember this report and buy Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size. Premium quality Chesterfield, and much milder.
We contacted the San Pedro office of the shipping company and made sure that Fletcher was on board the ship when it had sailed. The management of the shipping line told us that it would take about 24 hours before the tanker would make its first stop at San Francisco. We got in touch with the San Francisco Police Department and talked to Inspector Charles Sutton. He told us that they'd place a stakeout where the ship was due to dock and that they would await our arrival. At the same time, Sutton told us that they had conducted an investigation of the dead woman's husband, Tom Hudson, and that as far as they could find out, he didn't have the opportunity to kill his wife. They said that the records at the steel mill where he worked showed that he'd been on the job every day for the past month and a half. Questioning of his neighbors showed that he'd spent his time off working around the house and was seen each evening. Inspector Sutton stated that when Tom Hudson was told of his wife's death, he broke down and said that although there had been some talk of divorce, none of it had really been serious, and that this trip that his wife had taken to Los Angeles was to straighten things out with Fletcher. Hudson flew down to Los Angeles and gave a positive identification of the body. We got in touch with the captain of the ship that Fletcher was on and filled him in on what had happened. He told us that he'd place the man under arrest and hold him in the ship's brig for us when they docked at San Francisco. Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m., Frank and I checked out and flew up to San Francisco. We met with Inspector Sutton and Inspector Jules Zimmerman. They told us that the ship was expected to dock the following morning at 10:36 a.m. We were waiting when the gangplank was lowered.
You're the officers? Yes, sir. I'm Inspector Sutton, San Francisco Police Department. Here are my credentials. These are Detectives Joe Friday and Frank Smith. They're from Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, you're the ones I talked to. I'm Captain Jackson.
How you doing, Captain?
Down the brig. He's been there since I got your message.
I wonder if we could see him.
Yeah, sure. We can go down this way.
All right, fine.
You sure Fletcher's the man you want?
Well, we're not sure, sir. Looks that way.
Hard to believe.
Why is that, sir?
Well, Fletcher's been with us for several years. Good man, hard worker. I know he's been studying for his papers. Wanted to be an engineer.
Oh.
I used to go by his room late at night on my way to the bridge. He'd be there, reading and working on the papers. Sure is hard to believe. Here we go through here.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Of course, I knew something had to be wrong.
Sir?
Well, once in a while, he used to get together with Fletcher on shore. We'd talk about what he was studying. I'd try to help him with his seamanship. This trip I called him, I'd met an engineer that I thought Fletcher would like to talk to. I'd known the guy for years, just back from the Orient. Anyway, I called Fletcher. They told me he'd moved out, hadn't left any forwarding address.
Uh-huh.
I didn't hear from him at all. Then he called me and wanted to know if he could stay at my place for a few days. Said he'd had some trouble at the new place. He was living landlady giving him a bad time.
Uh-huh. Did he say where he'd been staying?
Yeah, the, Broadleaf, something like that.
Could it be the Greenleaf, sir?
Yeah, that's it, Greenleaf. Said the landlady was a real prune, called her a miserable woman. Old Fletcher looked as if he'd been tying one on for about a week when he checked into my place. His clothes were a mess. Come on, it's down here.
Okay, fine.
When I told Fletcher about this, he was real arrogant. Said
said he didn't want to talk to anyone. Never seen him run like this before. All right, Fletcher. Police officers are here. Come on out. Come on, Fletcher. Let's go.
No, I'll go in.
How about it, Joe?
Room's empty. A blockade of the dock area was set up immediately in the event Fletcher had escaped from the ship. All officers in the area began a search. A search of the ship was started. A check of Fletcher's cabin turned up several letters from Alice Hudson. In the letters, she told Fletcher that she was going back to her husband. We talked to the members of the crew who had been in the vicinity of the brig. From one of them, we found that Fletcher had been in custody as the ship entered the harbor. On the floor of the brig, we found a small strip of metal that Fletcher had used to pick the lock of the door. The search of the ship went on. 11:47 a.m. One of the seamen found Fletcher's coat on the forward part of the deck. It had been wedged in behind a lifeboat shot. The search of the dock netted us nothing. All we could assume was that Fletcher had escaped from the brig, jumped overboard, and then tried to swim to shore. Inspector Sutton got in touch with Captain Cornelius Murphy, skipper of police boat D.A. White. Captain Murphy and his crew began a search of the bay from the dock area to Land's End. All police officers in the Bay Area were notified of the escape. Captain Jackson furnished us with a good snapshot of Fletcher. 7 hours passed. The search continued. Apparently, Fletcher had made good his escape. Wednesday morning, April 23rd, we got a report from an officer in the search party that the body of a man answering Fletcher's description had been found out near Seal Rocks near the Golden Gate. Sutton, Zimmerman, Frank, and I drove out to Land's End. We got out of the car and walked the rest of the way.
Watch your step, Frank. Yeah. Every time one of those waves breaks, it makes this ledge like glass. Sutton?
Yeah, Joe.
You see anything yet?
No. Wait a minute. I'll see if I can yell to Zimmerman. He can see it from there. Maybe he can tell us if we're getting close.
Yeah.
Zimmerman? How we doing?
You hear what he's saying?
Wind's carrying his voice away.
He's waving his arms, pointing down below us. Now, wait a minute. Watch it, Joe. It's a long way down. Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
See anything?
Wait till after this next wave break. Yeah. There he is. You see? Wedged in down here. Yeah. Looks like him. Hard to be sure with all this water, though. Yeah, I'll go down a little further. Take it easy, Joe. Yeah. It'll take a minute. Watch it. I'm all right.
How about it?
Yeah. It's Fletcher.
I'd better get the crew up here and pull him out.
Yeah. Must have been carried this far by the current, huh?
Yeah, that's right, Joe. They get mean this time of the year.
Well, that does it. Huh? Yeah, it looks that way. What's the matter, Joe? I was just thinking. Yeah? It's a rough way to die, isn't it? Sure is. You'd think he'd have known, wouldn't you, Joe? About those currents out there from Alcatraz to Angel Island. Some of the meanest currents in the world out there. Yeah, I know. You'd think a guy like Fletcher would have known better. Working on a ship, he should have known about that water. Well, maybe he did.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 23rd, an examination was held in the office of the coroner of the city and county of San Francisco. In a moment, the results of that examination.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I just want to leave you with one thought tonight. Chesterfield is the first cigarette to give you scientific facts in support of smoking. Remember the study made by a competent medical specialist and staff. They examined a group of people who smoked only Chesterfields. After the examinations, the medical specialist stated, quote, "It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided." End of quote. Of course, these cigarettes were Chesterfield. Remember these facts and buy Chesterfields, either way you like them, regular or king size. Premium quality Chesterfields, and much milder.
Upon completion of the autopsy, the body was identified as Raymond S. Fletcher. The identification was made by his personal effects, fingerprints, and the personal identification of Captain James R. Jackson. Further investigation showed that the suspect had rented the apartment where the body was found and that he was guilty of the murder of Alice Hudson. His fingerprints were checked and found to be the same as those on the murder weapon. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, June Whitley, Peter Leeds. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking. Sound off for Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder Chesterfield. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak, For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. You don't get in the blue book that way, but you don't embarrass your friends either. Because down on the waterfront in San Francisco, they don't separate the good and the bad. They let them run together. And before long, you got a caste system. You're either alive or dead. If you're on top, you keep fading the crowd and trying for sevens until you lose the dice. It's not the only way to play it, unless you like worms. I rent boats and do anything else that'll put a fast handle on a buck. But it doesn't always work out because down here, all your luck is junior grade and trouble is trumps. I found that out Tuesday night. It was the first time I ever saw Rubin Callaway, and the last time, too, if you like to keep a tidy record. It was about 7 o'clock, and I just started back across the bay from Sausalito. You could still see Mount Tamalpais squatting on the Marin shore, light brown near the top, but dark and black farther down, like a cupcake that's been in the oven a little too long. A low fog was beginning to squeeze in on the far side, so I kicked in the searchlight, and that's when I picked him up. He was struggling feebly with his face near the water, and he was almost bald, so that when the light hit him, he looked like a cantaloupe that somebody got tired of. I pulled alongside and started to haul him aboard. He brought most of the bay with him.
Help me. Please help me.
Yeah, well, wait till I get a hold of you, will you? Come on. There. Sit down. No, here. Lean against the gunwale.
Yeah, thanks.
Is the water red or you've been shot a little?
Do you have to know everything?
No, it's your load. Carry it, mister.
Yeah.
Move your feet. I got to get us ashore.
If you like it, go ahead. But don't hurry for me.
Well, if you feel that way about it, pick another spot to die in. Go back in the bay where you'll have company.
You've got to help me. I want you to get in touch with a girl named Alma Biggs.
Yeah?
You'll find her at the Empire Club out on Geary Street. My name's Rubin Callaway. Tell her about me. She'll pay you for it.
What'd she do, collect bodies?
Just give her this key. It's for a locker down in the bus station.
Now, look, Pop, you don't know me. Suppose I use the key.
You can't spend it. You better take the money.
All right.
Just see Alma and tell her it didn't work out. It didn't work out for me at all. I guess that's right, huh?
On the big things, you're 100%.
I don't need a check. Oh.
Here, set up. I told you I don't want you dying in here.
Stop beefing, fella. You don't have all the bad luck.
They must have sent a fast chariot because when I leaned over, the guy was dead. And he was working hard at it, too. He was a skinny little guy, all bent up and twisted in the bottom of the boat like an old paper clip. It wouldn't do any good to straighten him out because he wasn't going to sleep easy. His eyes were open and rolling around at the sky as if he was on the make for a star. And the skin hung loose around his face so that when you touched it, it felt like an empty baked potato. I pushed him into a corner and started for Pier 19. When I got there, I hauled him on the dock and went down to call homicide. Must have been about 8:30 when I took a cab out to the Empire Club. It was a gambling joint out on Geary Street where they cut their whiskey and cards in different rooms. I asked the guy at the window if he knew Alma Biggs, and he pointed her out by the roulette table. She was wearing a white satin evening gown, and as I walked up behind her, I noticed she moved in rhythm with the roulette wheel. It was interesting. If it had been a merry-go-round, they'd have pinched her. I squeezed in next to her at the table, and I was thinking of trying it again when she started to talk.
It's a tight fit. Are you sure you like it?
I'm not going to stay long.
That's what Rudolph Hess said.
Make your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Gamblers, make your bets.
Stake me, Alma.
I can't afford you, darling.
Well, go broke for Rubin Callaway, then. 4 on the red.
I ought to keep you for luck, darling. Will you comb your hair?
I'll take the chips. They'd look bad on Callaway.
Oh. It's too crowded here. Let's find a closet.
All right.
Did he look pretty?
For a fish, he was all right.
Who are you?
Pat Novak. I picked him up in the bay. He said to look you up and tell you it didn't work out.
That would please Turk.
Yeah? Who's Turk?
The reason it didn't work out. Is that all, Mr. Novak?
Except for a key. It fits a bus station locker here.
You keep it, Mr. Novak.
It won't buy anything. Now, look, sweetheart, I picked up your boy and dried him out, but that's all. We were small friends at best, so the services stopped.
You can come to a slow stop for $200. Take the key and pick up what's in that locker. I'll get it from you later.
Yeah?
I'll meet you in an hour. Where's a good place? Your apartment?
Well, it's a place.
I'll find it in the book. I hope you don't mind.
No, the thin walls will save me. What's in the locker?
What would it prove?
Proves you got a small mouth, Angel.
Unless you're going to kiss it, don't worry. 9:30 then?
All right.
I'll bring the 200 with me.
Don't worry about the dough.
Oh?
Because I scooped your chips off the table. See you later. She stood there watching me as I walked over to the cashier's window. Oh, she gave you a nice warm feeling like a Bunsen burner in the middle of your back. And as she stood there in the center of the floor smiling, you knew she could turn a glacier into a steam bath at 400 yards. A nice little mouse that made you want to go home and test all the old traps. Well, I cashed in her chips, and the boy at the window shoved out 200 rocks in a pained look as if he'd just handed over his right lung. I got a cab and rode down to the bus station at 7th and Market. There were a few people sitting at the counter and a couple of old men on the benches waiting for somebody to get up and leave the funny papers. I went over near the wall and opened up the locker. It was a long trip for a small package. It was a square manila envelope and was an address up in the corner. Rubin Callaway, photographer. I squeezed the envelope and it felt like photographs, but I wasn't sure. I started to close the locker when I turned, and then I tumbled for the first time. It's like getting a drop of rain on your hand before you ever look up at the sky. The two of them were standing over by the cigar counter watching me. A guy with a heavy overcoat and a little small guy about the size of a hangnail. It wouldn't do any good to sit down because I knew they'd stay until somebody condemned the building, so I walked past them out onto the street. There was a cab standing right in front.
Cab, mister?
Yeah. Swing up toward the St. Francis, will you?
Yeah,
Now, look, you're going to be tailed, so brush up on your alleys.
if you like it that way.
Hey, you were supposed to take a left there on Mission.
I got a license. Where's yours?
I told you to double back over Market.
Look, get out and walk if you don't like it. I've been bought, mister.
Oh, my two friends.
That's right. You should have come first.
I ought to part your hair.
You got more chance with them. Here we are.
Where you going?
You like alleys, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Take it easy, fella. You're not going anywhere.
You were nice while you lasted.
Take it easy. You better walk up a wall. They'll block the alley. See?
Crowded alley, huh?
Yeah.
Give me the envelope so we can all get out.
Can Junior help you?
Give me the envelope. There. Now let's see it. Yeah, it's still sealed.
You all through?
I don't know. I'll see. You like him, Joe?
No.
That's the way it is, mister. He don't like you.
I slid down like an old sock on a bony leg. I rolled over a couple of times and tried to stand up, but it wasn't easy. You might as well try to find a hair in a bowl of chop suey. Well, it began to rain, and I figured it'd be easier to float out to the street, so I went to sleep. When I woke up, the rain hadn't helped the alley much. It's like washing your kid's face and finding out he was ugly to start with. The mud had washed up against the walls, and there was a thick, sour smell, and down the alley across the street there was a part of a sign sticking out that said, Eats. And that isn't what you felt like at all. I started groping around to get up, and my hand hit the pictures. They were scattered all over like clothes in a boarding school. I picked them up and started for the street. On the way up in the cab, I got a chance to look at them, and they didn't make sense. There were 6 of them, and they were all just about the same, a bunch of mob scenes of that fire over in Oakland. I didn't have time to figure it out because the cab pulled up in front of the St. Francis, and I went in to call Alma Biggs and tell her the party was off. Part of that alley must have come with me, because when I walked into the lobby, the doorman looked at me as if I'd just blown up a nunnery. I tried the number once, but nobody answered. I decided to wait 20 minutes and call again. That was a mistake, because I just got in the booth and started to dial, and somebody started rapping on the door with a nickel. It was Hellman from Homicide.
Hello, Novak. Come on out. You can't get a date in that suit.
What do you want, Hellman?
Come on out. Oh, you're a hard man to find.
Well, you don't look in the right places.
I'm a family man. Tell me about the dead guy.
I don't know, Hellman. He died in my boat. That's all I know.
He didn't say anything?
Just sentimental stuff. His name's Rubin Callaway. Somebody threw him in the bay without instructions. I don't know a thing about him except he takes pictures.
Yeah?
Oh, wipe off the drool. They're not your kind.
Who are his friends?
He's got new ones by now. I don't know, Hellman.
How about that guy up in your couch?
Huh?
I just left your place. How about that guy on the couch?
There's a gal up there, but that's all.
Does she wear suspenders?
Huh?
Then take my word, it's a man.
And you're going to tell me he's dead, Hellman.
No, I'm not going to tell you he's dead, Novak. He may be a soft breather.
When Hellman mentioned the stiff up at my place, I knew we were going to be in low gear the rest of the night, because Hellman isn't an easy guy. He wouldn't give his wife an aspirin if she had concussion of the brain. He took me out the side door, and we rode up to my apartment. The dead guy was lying on the couch with his arms across his chest as if he wanted somebody to give him a lily or a way out of this. The lamp was shining down in his face, and the light was distorted, but when you stood over him, you could see his face was the color of pressed seaweed. If he had anything to be happy about, you couldn't tell, because his mouth was open and hung over to one side like a loose change purse filled with old teeth. His clothes were rumpled, and his shirt was open at his neck. You could see a chain around his neck and a silver medal in the dull light against his chest. It looked out of place and made you feel funny, like seeing a picture of a Madonna in a bowling alley. I watched him while Hellman made noise.
He still looks like a man.
Yeah? Who is he?
George Leggett.
What does that prove?
Who his mother was. We're checking for a record. The gun, too.
What gun?
One was lying here on the floor. I want to know if it's the same gun that killed Rubin Callaway.
Well, you'll need some prints.
Anybody can buy a handkerchief. Where were you tonight?
In an alley down near Mission Street.
You like it down there?
It's all right. You'd like it. I got shoved in and pushed around for these pictures.
They don't look like the right kind of pictures.
Well, I can't explain that, Hellman. Maybe they took the good ones.
How do you fit in?
Callaway gave me a key to a locker down in the bus station. It was for a girl named Alma Biggs.
And the girl sent you down?
That's right, with $200 running money. If you want to know about Callaway, look up a guy named Turk.
Turk what?
I don't know, Hellman. Maybe he's only got one name. Maybe the other was Stinker. You got a police file. Look him up. The girl mentioned him. That's all I know.
We'll look him up. But I'm not going to forget you. One guy's dead on Pier 19, another up here in your apartment. You mixed up, Novak. There's a connection. I'll shop around till I strike it.
You couldn't strike oil on a filling station. You got a double murder shop for a pair of people.
I'll shop far enough to get you, big shot. Far enough to see you fry.
Well, you got the lard for it, Hellman.
If you keep your mouth shut now, you can hold in the blood. Oh, Hellman talking. Yeah? Where'd you find out? That'd make it easier. You sure the same gun killed them both? Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in.
Well?
Huh? Oh. Wrong number, Novak.
They didn't give Hellman a sense of humor. They gave him a loud laugh instead. When he walked out of my place, he was smiling like a funny man who's just exposed Santa Claus. I didn't feel very funny myself. I took another look at those pictures, and I was as mixed up as a guy with a Mexican divorce. They were just ordinary pictures of a fire in Oakland. What made them so important? I was sure that Gunsel had taken some pictures, but, well, were they any different than those? And why was Alma Biggs afraid to pick them up? And who was a guy named Turk? I was full of questions, but no answers, like some guy at a peace conference. If I went over it any more, I'd be counting my toes. So I got out of there and looked up Jocko Madigan. Oh, he's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too, until he decided the only way you can get a good trade-in on hard luck is with a bottle of whiskey. I found him at Emilio's bar, patting Bill, the bartender, on the back with one hand and pouring jiggers of gin with the other.
At the table down at Murray's, in the place where Louis dwells.
Jocko.
Ba, ba, ba. Gentlemen songsters off on a spree, doing from here to eternity.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Patsy, I'm driving a Harvard man crazy. He's at the end of the bar.
Well, stop drinking and listen to me.
I've got to keep on drinking, Patsy, if I want to preserve any continuity in my life, because I don't drink to forget, but rather to remember. To remember all the pleasant events of my life. There were two of them, I think.
All right, Jocko.
The first was a girl I met many twilights ago, and the second was a summer night in St. Louis when a bartender felt crazed with the heat and set him up on the house.
Will you stop it? I'm in trouble.
Memory is a blessed toy, Patsy. But you have to be careful because it can be dangerous, like giving a rifle to a small child for Christmas. It's true he can get some temporary pleasure out of it by shooting various neighbors, but sooner or later he's going to kill the only rich relative in the family.
Jocko, I'm tired.
And memory is the same way. So you're entitled to collect the few good ones you have. You're allowed to straighten them out and put them in order. After all, an old pool ball gets racked now and then.
You all through?
Yes. I've run out of memories.
Hellman thinks I killed two guys 10 miles apart.
Wasn't it difficult?
The same murder gun. The whole thing is tied up with some pictures.
In color?
A guy by the name of Rubin Callaway died in my boat. He gave me a key to a locker downtown. The pictures were there.
Is that one of them?
Yeah, take a look.
Oh, if it's a group picture, they were a very unruly family.
It's the Oakland fire. Two Gunsels followed me and took some of the pictures. In the meantime, some guy got shot in my place. Everybody's after the pictures. Why?
Have you seen the other pictures?
No, I took an intermission. That's why you got to help. Now, you'll find Rubin Callaway's address in the phone booth. Get up there and go through his stuff, will you?
It doesn't sound legal.
Neither's a bum murder rap. Get up there and go through his pictures. Try to find anything that'll fit in with his set.
Where are you going, besides jail?
I got to find a gal named Alma Biggs.
Oh, you'll have trouble with a name like that. She's probably changed it.
The locker key was tabbed for her, but she hired me to run her errands.
Is she pretty?
Yes, if you like a fast track. Now get up there, Jocko.
Why can't I see her?
Will you stop it, Jocko? Just get up there. Forget about her. She'd scare you to death.
Yes. Well, at least I'd die hopeful. Good night, lover.
Well, finding Alma Biggs was quite a job. I knew she was around, but I couldn't get to her. It was like trying to get a peanut shell out of a back tooth. I called the Empire Club, but they didn't know anything about her. I went through all the phone books and the city directories, and I didn't get anything but a sore thumb. Well, I didn't do any better with the hotels. I sat in Lupo's and called them all one by one, and by 1 o'clock I knew more desk clerks than a vice squad cop, but no Alma Biggs. Finally, I went out to the Empire Club and started talking to the cabbies. About 15 minutes later, one pulled up and remembered taking a girl in a satin evening gown up to an apartment on the hill. I called Hellman and rode up there to check the names. Alma Biggs had an apartment on the second floor. I knocked on the door and she didn't answer, so I tried it. The lights were out, so I closed the door and groped over to the desk. I should have noticed the draperies as I passed because they were full of people.
Wait a minute.
All right, now.
Wait a minute, Mr. Novak. Stop breaking things. Someday you may want to mend me.
Do you always sleep in the curtains?
Do you always talk this long in the dark? Turn on the light.
Yeah.
I wanted to see who you were.
George Leggett, maybe.
Oh? Do you know him?
We're roommates. He died on my couch tonight.
Anything serious or just humdrum death?
He's satisfied. What do you know about him?
Well, I never heard anybody say a bad thing about him. Of course, I never heard anybody mention him.
Now, look, Angel, it's late. Who's George Leggett?
Why do you care?
Because homicide cares. They got Callaway and Leggett back to back, and they want my skin.
It's a nice skin, darling. Where are the pictures?
Unless you're a social worker, you're not going to like them here.
Let me see. They're not all here.
Yeah, I figured that.
Where are the other pictures, Patsy?
In some Gonoff's album. 2 of them jumped me down near Mission Street.
Who were they?
We never got that friendly.
Well, there couldn't have been 2 of them.
Well, maybe the little guy was just window dressing, but he gave the right answers.
Patsy, I think you're a liar.
You're nicer than homicide.
I want those pictures.
You do.
And I'm going to take them away from you.
Well, if I had them, that's a big enough gun to do it.
Get the pictures, Patsy.
It's a bad time for murder, Angel. Homicide's working this week.
I haven't time, Patsy. I'll push you down like a blade of grass. Get the pictures.
Now, look, sweetheart, I took a job for $200. It covers a tandem murder rap and a sapping down on Mission Street, but it won't cover big talk from you. Now, put the gun away or I'll bend you hard.
Don't move up when you talk.
You're around behind. Come on, give it to me.
Up it, Patsy.
Feels good. Let it go or take the pain. Drop it.
You don't have to hang on. I'm not a barbell.
You're handy now. Who's Turk?
Stop it. You're hurting my arm.
There's a guy named Turk. I want to know who he is.
You're late for that.
Who is he?
Go ahead, tear it off, but you'll die ignorant.
Yeah.
You sound blue, Novak.
Oh, what do you want, Hellman?
I want to give you a reason. We got the coroner's report on George Leggett.
Yeah?
He died in your apartment. The blood off your carpet looks good on these slides.
All right, so the murderer sold me the rug. So what, Hellman?
So we ran down George Leggett's record. A Detroit gunman who got out here 6 weeks ago.
Yeah?
He traveled for years with a guy named Turk Spaniel.
Now, that's your boy. You better find him.
We already have.
Don't tell me he's up on the couch.
He was born too soon for you. We checked with the Detroit police.
What'd they say?
They know all about Turk Spaniel. He was killed 9 years ago in West Detroit. But they found the guy that did it and sent him up to Lansing for life.
Yeah?
Yeah. He was a guy named Joe Biggs. Say hello to your girlfriend.
Well, I didn't talk to the girl because I knew she'd close up faster than a Dublin meat market on Friday. I left her and went down to the Chronicle morgue to find out what I could about Turk Spaniel. Hellman had covered it. Spaniel talked too much, and Joe Biggs killed him and left him growing out of a ditch like an old weed. I didn't know where to turn now. With Turk gone, who was after those pictures besides Alma Biggs, and what did they prove? I knew the answer was there, probably in plain sight, like a blimp on a football field, but I couldn't get near it. It was past 2 when I got back to my apartment, and the phone was screaming for help. Yeah.
Hello, Patsy. This is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
That Callaway was quite a photographer.
Yeah?
You should see some of the pictures. Ooh, I'm in love with it.
All right, Jocko. Did you find anything?
There's a check for $1,000 from Alma Biggs.
Yeah, what else?
Some more pictures of the Oakland fire. One of them looks good.
Yeah?
It's just like the rest, except in the background something is circled with a red pencil.
That'll do it, Jocko.
And there's a clipping here with another picture. I can't tell, but I think they match.
What's it say?
Well, it's all about...
Jocko, what's the matter? Are you all right, Jocko? Jocko, you all right?
He says to tell you no.
After Jocko's call, I grabbed a cab and rode up to Callaway's apartment. When I got there, Jocko was sitting in the middle of the floor as sad as a steer on a sheep ranch. He hadn't seen who hit him, and the picture was gone, and so was the clipping. I asked him if there were any negatives around. He said no. That meant that somebody was still on the prowl for those negatives. So I called Hellman and briefed him. He said he'd meet us at Rubin Callaway's studio in 10 minutes. When we got there, it was dark, but I sensed Hellman in the back room. Turned out to be a couple of pans of acid, but Hellman was there going over the negatives.
All this guy did was take pictures.
Let me take a look, will you, Hellman? Can you spot the right one here, Jocko?
Hold him up to the light.
All right. Here are the fire pictures.
How about this one?
No, I had that one.
Yeah, that's it. And this fellow back here is the one that was circled.
Hold it up so I can see.
Hello, Turk. You waited too long.
Give me the picture, mister.
All that gun will do is make noise, Spaniel. It won't make enough to keep a secret.
Just hand me the picture.
Somebody knows you're alive now. The picture's for laughs.
It's your word against mine, and I'll be so far away I can't hear the argument. Let's have it.
Don't give it to him, Novak.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. You take it away, Hellman.
Thanks, Novak. That alley taught you manners. Just stand over there. I want to remember the way you looked.
Don't worry. I'll tell you about them, Turk.
Huh?
Keep backing into this gun. It's going to show around your breastbone.
Guns are getting cheap. You better drop yours, Spaniel.
Over there. You look the same, Turk, or almost the same.
You got this all wrong, Alma.
Joe doesn't look the same. 9 years in the cooler and you lose your personality.
Please, Alma, don't do anything crazy.
After 9 years, you lose almost everything. Joe's lost everything but me. Down on the floor, Spaniel. I want you on your knees.
Please. Alma, you got it wrong.
I got it all right, Turk, because Joe wouldn't lie to me. When he said he didn't kill you, I knew you were alive.
Please, Alma.
Down on the floor beside the table.
Go easy, baby. You got a copper here.
I can't hurt him, Novak. Turk Spaniel's legally dead. All you can do to a dead man is kick up the dust.
Please, Alma, you're not seeing this right.
I'm going to have a better chance than you. You couldn't see, Spaniel. You couldn't see your way back to help Joe out. You look good on your knees. Over by the table.
Leave that acid alone, sweetheart.
I'm going to help him see. With a whole panful of it. I'm going to help you see, Spaniel.
Please. Please, Alma, you wouldn't do that.
You got the short end of the bet.
You better look at him, Jocko.
Don't bother, unless you're a baby doctor.
We may need you, lady.
Not for this copper. Remember, Turk Spaniel's dead. Detroit says so.
He looks live now.
He can't be dead there and live here. I like your climate, but it's not that good. You can't see me, Turk. So I'll bet you can hear me walk out of here. Goodbye, Turk. I'll send you a cane.
Well, Hellman managed to get most of the story out of Turk Spaniel. Rubin Callaway stumbled into the whole thing, and he didn't know what hit him. He went over to Oakland to take some pictures of the fire, and he got a picture of Spaniel in the crowd. Spaniel saw him and trailed him over to this side. He had to get the pictures because back in Detroit, he'd framed Joe Biggs with a riddled-up body and skipped out of the country. He'd been away until a few weeks ago, and now he was waiting for a boat out of San Francisco, so he had to stay dead. He sent George Leggett after the pictures, but Leggett figured it was a good way to double-cross him and stay in the clear, so he tipped off Alma Biggs, who'd come out here on a lead a few weeks before. Turk finally tumbled. With a local gunsel, he killed Callaway and left Leggett in my apartment where he trailed him. It almost worked out, but he didn't get to that shop in time. Well, Hellman asked only one question. When I first met her, did I know that Alma Biggs was that hard? No. In that satin evening gown, I didn't think so.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the fifth of the new series, Fat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Fat Novak is produced and directed by William P. Rousseau. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Edlund. In our cast were Yvonne Fady, Charles McGraw, Herb Butterfield, and Herb Ellis. This program is being released to our servicemen and women overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Be with us again next week when over most of these same ABC stations we will bring you Pat Novak, For Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. Now, a brief reminder. There is no mystery to this statement. Wherever they serve, at home or abroad, the men who wear the uniform of the United States are men of whom we can be proud. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. All of them serve our country and us with pride and honor. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. You get a report that high-grade heroin is being sold in your city. The key men in the operation are well hidden. You have no leads to their identity. Your job, stop them. These are the reasons thousands are changing to Chesterfield, and why you should change to Chesterfield today.
Only Chesterfield gives you scientific facts in support of smoking.
Only Chesterfield names its ingredients. Ingredients that give you the best possible smoke.
Only Chesterfield gives you premium quality in both regular and king size.
That means king size Chesterfield contains tobacco of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. It's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. And there's enough to give you more than a 1/5 longer smoke. Yes, more than a 1/5 longer smoke from king-size Chesterfield.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Premium quality Chesterfield. And much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 9:37 a.m. when we got to the main jail. Felony section.
Hi, John.
Friday, Smith. What do you want?
Anderson, 302.
Anderson, 302, interview.
How's he feeling this morning, John?
I don't know. I just checked in a while ago. I heard he gave the fellow some trouble early this morning. Guess he's pretty rocky.
Hi, Anderson.
What do you guys want?
Want to talk to you. Down this way, Anderson.
Hope you guys know I don't feel so good. Terrible night. I hope I never have to go through any more of them.
Yeah.
You gonna do something about it?
What do you mean?
You're gonna get me out of here. Let me shove off.
You know better than that, Anderson.
Yeah. Should have known. You guys don't care. You just don't know.
Right in here. Sit down.
You guys got to do something for me, though. I can't take much more of it. Can't you talk to the doctor, have him give me something? He's got it, just a little bit. I tell you, I'm sick.
We'll have the doctor give you some medicine, Anderson. A couple things we want to check with you.
You know what I need. It ain't medicine. Can't we do this later? I tell you, I don't feel good. Can't you talk to the doctor?
You're booked as Fred J. Anderson. That's your true name?
Yeah. Fred J. Anderson.
What's the J stand for?
You have to know?
We do.
Jeremiah, my father's name.
You have any other names?
What do you mean?
You use any aliases?
No, none.
Any nicknames?
No.
You drive a car?
Yeah. 49 Ford Convert.
Who holds the pink slip on it?
I do.
You own it outright?
Yeah, look, do we have to go through that whole thing? Can't you ask me later? You guys don't believe me, but you're going to find out when I keel over. You'll know that.
What color's the car?
Maroon.
You know the license number?
No.
Where have you lived before?
Before what?
You gave the address of 10624 Ivorine Avenue. That's what we have here. Hollywood, is that right?
Yeah, that's where I live.
You belong to any lodges, anything like that?
No.
You ever in the armed services?
No.
No serial number, no branch.
Now, look, how about knocking this off? I'm getting tired of you guys leaning on me. You drag me in here, ask a lot of questions. I tell you I don't feel good. You don't believe me. Leave me alone. Let me go back to my cell, huh? As soon as I feel better, I'll answer all your questions.
We got a job to do, Anderson. We didn't build this thing. You knew what had happened when you started. Now, what's your draft number?
I don't know.
Did you register?
Sure.
Draft card in your wallet?
Yeah.
And we can get it.
You married?
No, not now.
You were, though, huh?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. It didn't work. Bud was too nosy. Always wanted to know what I was doing. Always asking questions.
Have any kids?
No.
What's your wife's name?
Adelaide.
How do you spell that?
Adelade. Adelaide Morton. Lousiest 2 years I ever spent.
Where she live?
I don't know. Lost track.
Where did she live?
Same place up on Ivorine. I moved out when we got the divorce. I haven't seen her since. May still be there for all I know.
How about your nearest living relative?
Yeah, how about him?
Maybe you got things wrong, Anderson. You're booked in here on a narcotics charge. That's pretty serious. This isn't a game. The sooner you realize it, the better off you're going to be.
All right.
Nearest relative?
My brother lives in St. Paul. I don't know the address. I got it at home. We don't agree on a lot of things. I haven't seen him for a year or so.
What's his name?
Henry Alton Anderson.
That's your nearest relative?
That's what I said.
Anybody else?
No.
How about your friends? Who are they?
That's the line.
What?
That's where I stop answering these questions. You can maybe tie a bum rap on me, but you ain't going to get my friends mixed up in it. No, sir. That's where I draw the line.
All right, suit yourself, Anderson. We got a lot of time.
Got a cigarette, Joe?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks.
Anderson?
No.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Why you have to know who my friends are?
For a lot of reasons.
I don't want to embarrass them, that's all. I don't want them to have to answer a lot of silly questions. You can see that, can't you? Can't you?
Yeah, Anderson, we don't need to embarrass anybody. We just thought it would help here.
Well, I won't tell you. I don't feel well. I don't feel well at all. I'm not hooked anyway. You got no right to say that.
Look at your arm.
I ain't going to try to con you. Sure, I tried this stuff once or twice, but that don't mean I'm hooked. A couple of pops, that's all. Just a couple of times.
That's not the way your arm makes it look. You've almost run out of places to put that needle, haven't you?
So maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was a couple of more times than I thought.
All right, now look, Anderson, I'm going to lay this out for you. We know there's a lot of H floating around. Has been for the past 3 months, and it's high grade. We know that you and the bunch you work for aren't too choosy who you sell it to. Now, we want the names and where you're getting the stuff. You say you're sick now. Wait a few more hours. Wait till your stomach starts to turn over. Wait till you can't make your hands do what you want them to. Wait till your head starts to crack open. You'll feel different then. We can wait. Well, let's take him back, Frank. Come on.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
You going to take me back to the cell?
You called it.
I don't want to go back in.
Well, that's where you're going.
You're going to call the doctor, tell him to take care of me?
He knows already. He'll do what he can.
I can't go that route. You know that. Iron Cure, I couldn't take it. It'd kill me.
You should have thought of that a long time ago.
Yeah, you can say that. You ain't got the habit. It's easy for you to say that. You don't know.
All right, let's go.
No, I want you got to do something.
I told you we'd do what we could.
That ain't enough.
It'll have to do.
I told you, help me out. Give me a hand, then I'll get over on your side. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
All right, tell us where you're getting the stuff.
Can't you help me out first?
The doctor will see you.
Okay. Where do you want me to start?
Where do you get the stuff?
From a guy.
What's his name?
Paul.
Paul what?
I don't know what his last name is, just Paul.
Where do you meet him?
Hollywood.
That's a big place. Where in Hollywood?
Different places. Sometime the corner of Hollywood and Vine, sometimes at Highland, once at Cherokee and Sunset, different places.
How do you know where?
He gets word to me.
How?
Guy tells me Paul wants to see me, that's all.
What does Paul look like?
Big guy, real big.
What's he look like? How tall is he?
6'2", maybe 250.
What's his coloring?
Dark. Looks like he's just come back from the beach. Looks real tan. You guys are going to help me out, aren't you, after all I done?
What color's his hair?
Black, curly black hair. How about it? You going to do me some good?
Any marks or scars on him?
Huh?
This Paul? Any marks or scars on him that'll make him easier to spot?
Yeah, he's got a scar across the bridge of his nose right here.
How old is he?
Oh, I guess about 38, maybe 40.
Drive a car, do you know?
Never saw one. He always walked up on me.
Is he a user?
I don't think so. Maybe joy pops once in a while. I don't think he's on the steady, though.
Is he the boss?
Huh?
He the head man in the operation?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's just one of the guys.
Where'd you meet him?
Bar downtown.
Were you introduced?
No, he just came up, started to talk to me. We got along, made a deal. I was around trying to make a buy, get a connection.
All right. I want you to look at some pictures. See if you can point this fellow Paul out for us.
Look, I've done my part. I told you. Now you guys got a chit to pick up. When do I get to see the doctor? When are you going to fix me?
We'll talk to him.
That wasn't a deal.
We made no deals.
You said you'd give me a hand.
We will. The doctor will do everything he can for you. We can't promise you any more than that.
Not much.
That's the way it is.
Lousy deal. Everything's on your side. You know it and you're sure right. Someday I'll learn. It just don't pay.
Yeah, what's that?
Never scratch a cop's back.
10:46 a.m. We returned Fred Anderson to his cell and called a doctor for him. For the past 4.5 months, an organized gang had been selling high-grade heroin. From our informants, we learned that the drug was being made available to anyone who could pay the price. When we tried to stop the activities of the gang, we found ourselves up one blind alley after another. None of the buys we arranged took place. Meets with the higher-ups failed to materialize. When Fred Anderson was picked up, the narcotics found on his person was of the same quality and type that was being pushed around town. 2:34 p.m. We picked up Anderson and took him to the city hall to look at the mug books. He failed to identify any of the pictures. We checked the description of Paul against the people known to have dealt in narcotics, but failed to come up with an identification. Anderson was returned to his cell and held pending trial for violation of the State Narcotics Act, a felony. 4:17 p.m. We checked back into Captain Kearney's office.
That's it, Skipper. We're right back where we were 4 months ago.
Nothing at all on this Paul, huh?
Well, if there is, we haven't been able to find it.
You think Anderson's telling everything he knows about it?
Oh, I doubt it.
No, that description would fit 100 guys. You got any ideas of where we go from here?
Oh, yeah, maybe. It might not work, but it's someplace to start.
Well, let's hear it.
All right, can we take a look at the map over here? From the information we got, the main operation must be taking place someplace down around here, around the harbor area.
Yeah?
From what we hear, the stuff's there, all right. Problem is how to find a connection. Well, maybe if we just lose a man down there, we thought. Put a man down there and let him work on his own. He might be able to come up with some answers.
Pretty risky, Joe. That's a rough place. I wonder if it'd be worth risking a man down there.
I don't think we got much of a choice, Skipper.
No.
Well, we figured that maybe if I went down there and let it get around that I wanted to make a buy, a big one, maybe they'd come to me. Why you? Why not let me handle it? Well, I thought that's the way we figured it. They know you down there. You used to work that area.
You're not in any better position, Joe. Fellas walking the streets down there that you've tangled with, they're not about to form any fan clubs for you.
Well, we've tried every other way. Informants, leads, every known pusher's been talked to. Still, the stuff keeps coming in, being sold. Where we sit, this looks like one way to get them.
All right, how you going to work it?
Well, I figure maybe I'll check into some hotel down there, eat in the places in the neighborhood, be seen around the bars, let it get around that I'm here from San Francisco, want to make a buy, and see what happens.
You know anything about San Francisco?
Well, I know the place pretty well. I spent a couple of years up there when I was in the Army. I still don't like this idea of not being able to tag you, though. Well, there's no other way. Suppose so. How are we going to know how you're making out? Well, I'll get word whenever I can, let you know before the buy, tell you where and when.
All right, Joe, you bought a piece of it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, you know, but take it easy. Don't make a target out of yourself. Remember, keep in touch with us.
Right, Skipper. Let us know as much as you can, huh? Yeah. Take it easy, huh, Joe? Don't want anything to happen to you. Yeah, well, I'm on your side there.
August 4th, 8:35 a.m. Frank and I had identification made up bearing the name Joe Arnold. After a final talk with Captain Kearney, I went home, got my car, and left for San Pedro. 6:42 p.m. I checked into a hotel on 6th Street. The hotel, according to the information we had obtained, was near the narcotics distribution center. 8:12 p.m. I went next door to the bar.
Yeah?
Give me a beer, huh?
Eastern?
I don't care.
Okay. That'll be 30 cents.
All right. There you go.
Thanks.
Not much doing, huh?
No, it's pretty early yet. Gets a little frantic later.
Mm-hmm.
You're around here, aren't you?
Yeah, just down from San Francisco.
Nice town. I was up there a couple of years ago. Spent a week. Sure like it.
Yeah, it's a good place to live.
Sure seems to be. You know, if I could get a job up there, I think I'd move up.
Yeah?
Hey, slide down, huh? We can talk while I clean up these glasses. Well, that is, if you don't mind. Talk.
Oh, it's all right.
Glasses. Seems like you never get them done.
Yeah.
You down here on business?
Well, I guess you could say that.
Uh-huh. Sort of combined, huh?
Yeah.
And now look at that.
What's that?
I spent half the day slicing these oranges for old-fashioned, and then people don't eat them. A lot of wasted motion.
Yeah, I guess it is.
What line of business you in?
Nothing special. Just moving around. Wherever I can make a buck, I stop. They should have to call me a promoter, I guess.
Is that what you put down in your income tax returns?
What?
You know, when you fill out your income tax. It says there how you make your living. Where do you put that?
Business management.
That's good. Business management. Whose business you manage?
Mostly my own. Pretty good idea for everybody, isn't it? 3 weeks passed. I spent some time in most of the local bars and eating places. On occasion, I'd see other officers from the narcotics detail up in L.A. On each of these meetings, I'd have to pass them by and hope that they wouldn't show any evidence that they knew me. During the 3 weeks, I became friendly with the bartender, and in the course of many conversations, I let it be known that I was in town hoping to make a substantial narcotics buy. At first, he appeared only mildly interested, but then he began to ask more and more questions about my background and about the people I knew in San Francisco. Friday, August 27th, 9:31 p.m.
All right, Joe. How goes the battle?
I'm moving around. That's about all I can say.
Hey, you want a beer?
Yeah, fine. Okay, here's your 30 cents.
Oh, not tonight, Joe. It's on the house.
Why, what's the occasion?
I got some good news for you, Joe.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a friend I want you to meet. I think he can help you make a connection.
Yeah? Where is he?
No, look, I'm not promising anything, Joe. The guy knows some people and might be able to help you.
Why are you so interested?
I figure maybe I can make a buck or two.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is the guy here now?
Yeah, he's back there in the in booth. See, the other guy?
Well, that helps. Which one is your friend?
The big one. You know, the fellow with the gray suit on, cigar over his nose.
Gray suit, huh? Yeah, I see.
Come on, I'll take you back.
All right.
Nice guy, Joe. You'll like him.
Well, what'd you tell him?
Well, just that you were here from Frisco. Said you were interested in the connection if the deal was good.
Uh-huh.
You make your own deal now. Look, I got nothing to do with that. You'll really like him. Paul?
Yeah?
This is the guy I was telling you about, Joe Arnold. This is Paul Ginner.
Oh, hi, Joe. Sit down. Bring us another round, will you?
Yeah, right away, Paul.
You know what you want? Make it snappy, huh?
Yeah, right away. Beer, scotch, soda, and old-fashioned Irish whiskey.
Yeah, that's right. Leave the garbage out of the old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Here, sit down, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
This Jack Potter, you two ought to know each other.
All right?
Yeah, he's from Frisco, too.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, a report every smoker should hear.
Only Chesterfield gives you scientific facts in support of smoking.
First such report ever published about any cigarette. A responsible consulting organization reports a study by a competent medical specialist and staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfields. For 6 months, a group of men and women smoked only Chesterfield, 10 to 40 a day, their normal amount. 45% of the group have smoked Chesterfields from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and end of the 6 months, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including x-rays, and covering the sinuses, nose, ears, and throat. After a thorough examination of every member of this group, the medical specialist stated,
"It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6 months period by smoking the cigarettes provided."
Of course, these cigarettes were Chesterfields. Remember this report and buy Chesterfields, either way you like them, regular or king size. Premium quality Chesterfield, and much milder.
In normal undercover work, the police officer is in constant touch with the men working with him. This is done either by one officer trailing the undercover man or by phone calls to a fellow officer at appointed times. Rarely does the working detective put himself in the position where he doesn't have constant contact with the men he works with. However, in this instance, it appeared to be the only way information and evidence could be obtained. Friday, August 27th, 10:46 p.m. The bartender brought the drinks. Paul Ginter and Jack Potter started asking the questions.
From Frisco, huh?
Yeah, I'm from San Francisco.
Jack and I do some business together, real estate.
That's so?
Here you're in the management business, huh?
Bartender talks a lot, don't he?
He knows who to talk to. Tells me you're down here in business.
Yeah.
Where do you live up north?
Hyde near Taylor.
I used to live around there.
That right?
Yeah. Hey, they ever finished that work they were doing at the corner of 3rd and Market?
What's that?
Well, the construction they were doing at 3rd and Market. You know, that new dime store, they get it finished?
Yeah, they got it finished. It's not at 3rd and Market. Now, what's this all about, Ginter? What are you trying to prove?
What?
You got any questions to ask about me? Ask me. Don't ask your boy to do it here. You want to check up on me? Talk to somebody who's in San Francisco now. Have him check around. It's all there. I got no worries. When you two get tired of playing games, let me know. I got no time for him now. I'll see you around.
Sit down, Arnold.
Yeah?
Now, read it any way you want. You say you want to do business, I'm your boy. We gotta be sure. Can't take any chances. Cops are dying to find out. Can't let that happen, you know.
Yeah, well, if you're ready to talk a deal, let's get to it, huh?
You figure to do this business in Frisco?
San Francisco? Yeah, that's where I figure to work.
You're out of your mind. That town's tied in a drum. Nobody can get under the lid.
Now, you look, I don't ask you where you get your real estate. Don't tell me how to manage my business. I want to make an investment for a client. I got $10,000. That'll buy a whole tract of your lots. Now, are they for sale or not? It's that simple.
Well, now, you're in kind of a hurry, ain't you?
I've been here for 3 weeks. I don't want to spend any more time than I have to. When can I make the buy?
Tell you what, let's take a tour of the town, meet some friends of mine, then we can talk about it. No need to be in a hurry.
I got to see it first. I want to make sure it's the same stuff I heard about.
Where'd you hear?
A few rumbles around. High-grade stuff. That's what I want.
Let's go.
Can't you call this friend? I don't want to go traipsing all over town.
He moves around. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find. Besides, it serves two purposes.
What's that?
Give you a chance to meet some people. Once you get to know the town, you won't be in such a hurry to get away.
There's just one thing. Maybe I won't like your friends.
More important.
Yeah?
Maybe they won't like you.
For the next 3 hours, Ginter, Potter, and I visited almost every bar, nightclub, and coffee stand in the area. At each of the places, Ginter would ask for a man named Ainley. When he was told that Ainley wasn't in, we'd sit and have a drink. Ginter would call as many people as he knew over to the table, introduce them to me, and then before we left, he'd hold a conference with them at their tables. At several of the places, I saw men who I knew were involved in the narcotics trade, but none of them happened to be close to Ginter. It was obvious what Ginter was trying to do. He was checking me with the people in the business to see if any of them could recognize me or could give them any information about me. Saturday morning, August 28th, 3:14 a.m. We stopped for breakfast.
Here, you want some sugar?
No, I take it fine.
Okay, how about you, Jack?
Yeah, thanks.
Looks like it might have been a wild goose chase, huh? I don't know where Ainley could be.
Why don't you come off of this, Ginter?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I'm not a new boy. You're about as subtle as a bulldozer. What's the scoop here? Your friends tell you anything about me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just looking for Ainley. It's as phony as that look you got on your face now. How about it? Do I make the buy or don't I?
All right, you make the buy.
When?
You got the money?
I'll have it when the buy comes off.
10,000.
That's right.
Okay, you can pick up the stuff tomorrow night.
4:30 a.m. Ginter outlined the plan for the buy. At 7:30 that night, I was to meet him on the corner of Lebanon and Spring Streets. He'd take me to Ainley, who had the plan. 5:29 a.m. I drove back to Los Angeles. I put in a call to Frank Smith at his home and filled him in on the developments. It was arranged for me to be spotted when I got to the corner and then to be followed until the buy was made. At that time, Frank and the other officers working with him would move in and take Ginter and Ainley. I told Frank that I'd leave my car at the corner of 6th and Spring at noon that day. At that time, he would place a briefcase on the back seat of the car. In the briefcase would be packages of cut newspaper with a few $10 bills attached to each stack on the outside. I checked into a hotel down on 5th and got some sleep. At 7:30 p.m., August 28th, I was at the corner of Spring and Lebanon.
Hi, Arnold.
Hello, Ginter. Where do we go?
You got the money?
In this case here.
Where's your car?
Lot around the corner. We have to drive to the meet? Yeah.
Come on, this way.
My car's just around the corner.
Don't worry, we'll take mine.
All right, no problem.
Makes it nice. Here.
Want to slide in this side? Be quicker.
All right.
Where do we have to go?
It's not far.
How come we didn't make the deal in Pedro?
Ainley likes to do the big business up here. More people, easier cover.
Mm-hmm. When we first pulled away from the curb, I thought I could make out Frank and Captain Kearney in back of us. We drove for about an hour. Ginter cut down every side street in the area. Every place he drove, he kept his eye on the rearview mirror. I was afraid he'd make the tail. He drove out Sunset Boulevard and back down Wilshire, down Spring and over to Hope Street. Along the way, I lost sight of Frank and Captain Kearney. Finally, at 8:36, we pulled up at the corner of Spring and Lebanon. What's the deal, Ginter? This is where we started.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't have a tail.
You satisfied now?
Yeah. Come on in here.
This hotel here? Ainley do business in a rat trap like this?
He works where he has to. Come on, it's on the second floor. We can walk.
You sure this is the same stuff that I heard about?
You'll see.
Understand, I'm not buying any junk.
Don't worry. What we got's good. It's down here.
Come in.
Hello, Mr. Ainley.
Mr. Getter, this the young man?
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Arnold, Mr. Ainley.
How are you?
You have the money, young man?
Yeah, it's in here. You got the stuff?
I have, here in this case.
Looks like a doctor's bag.
It's a good place to carry it. Doctor's bag. Here, open the bundle yourself. High grade, best we can get.
Yeah, looks all right.
Fine. Now, if we could have the money.
Here you are. Now, if it's all right with you, I'll get out of here now.
We'd like you to wait until we count the money.
It's all there.
I don't doubt it, young man, but just to make sure so there'll be no repercussions later, you understand? Everything looks in order. What are you trying to pull?
What do you mean?
What is this, Ginter?
What's the matter?
There's nothing but paper, plain newspaper.
All right, Arnold, make a move or kill you. Let me see. What are you trying to pull?
All right, you're under arrest, both of you.
Cop, lousy cop.
That's right.
You got the shoe on the wrong foot, cop. I'm telling you what to do.
There's men all through this building. You won't make the front door.
How about it, Mr. Ainley?
Let's take him down to Pedro. We can get rid of him there. Be better.
How about the rest of them?
He's bluffing. You made sure you weren't followed, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you or didn't you?
Yeah.
Then there's nothing to worry about. Let's go.
Well, you heard him, Arnold. Whatever your name is.
Yeah.
Let's walk down, not too fast.
I'm parked out front.
Good.
All right, this is far enough.
Come on, don't stall. Don't cause any trouble.
You won't make it.
Yeah, you bet. Come on. Now move.
All right, down these stairs.
Smith, cover the other side.
Yeah.
Walker, block off that end of the hall.
Right, Captain.
You all right, Friday? Yeah, fine. Watch that guy, Frank.
I got him. Hold it up, mister. You're not going anyplace.
Fool, you stupid fool, Ginter. Can't even lose a tail.
Okay, both of you. Hands behind your back.
I told you to make sure you weren't followed. I told you.
I lost him. I know I did. I tell you I lost him.
All right, let's go. Come on, let's move.
You didn't lose him.
It's enough talk. Come on.
Those guys never learn, do they, Frank?
What do you mean?
Well, they keep lying right up to the finish, don't they?
How's that?
Well, Gitter and Ainley there. They'll be arguing all the way downtown about them losing you when you were tailing us.
Shouldn't be any argument, Joe. We lost you someplace along Wilshire.
But you got here all right. I thought this is the way you played it.
No, we just took a guess you might come back to your car.
Yeah, it was a pretty good guess for me, anyway.
Why? We'd have gotten them sooner or later.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 9th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I have just enough time to remind you that Chesterfield is the first cigarette to name all its ingredients. First to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. And first to give you scientific facts in support of smoking. I believe you should change to Chesterfields, either way you like them, regular or king size. And do it today.
Paul Robert Ginter and James Arthur Ainley were tried and convicted of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 6 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Whit Connor, Harry Bartell, Lee Marvin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke. Much milder Chesterfield.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Like anyone else, Van Barclay gave little thought to the precarious nature of everyday living. Had he had occasion to probe the fact, he might have acknowledged that danger is always present and that it can strike quite suddenly. Only Van Barclay wasn't thinking about such things. Perhaps he was too restless to care. A young engineer, unmarried, can get restless. Working in a new, strange city, he can get lonesome, too. Van Barclay was one or the other, or both of these things on a Saturday night, that he came out of a movie and went for a stroll along the Santa Monica Palisades in preference to going back to his hotel room. On the corner, he stopped to light a cigarette. That's when he first noticed it. The car was big, a Nash convertible. It cruised by him, came back around the block, moving slow. The third time around, he was standing on the curb, staring openly at the girl behind the wheel. Very nice. Young, blonde, considerably more than attractive. And she was looking at him just as obvious.
Hello.
Hello.
You've opened a door before, no doubt.
In other words, isn't it a beautiful night for a drive?
Well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You weren't going somewhere important.
No, not at the moment. In fact, I was faced with a rather gloomy prospect of an evening at a hotel alone. And it is a beautiful night for a drive. I suppose it was on the golf course at Biarritz,
What?
where we met.
That's as good a place as any.
Yes, only I've never been there. But I have a good imagination. And then I remember so well those evenings at Monte Carlo when you'd say to me, Van, you must sit beside me at the casino tonight. You bring me luck. You called me Van in those days, remember? Never Mr. Barclay. And I used to call you, what was it I used to call you?
It might have been darling, mightn't it?
Yes, might have been at that. Or maybe the mystery woman, huh? Beautiful, fascinating, and unpredictable. Especially unpredictable.
Oh, that's not very flattering, Mr. Barclay. You might have said, especially beautiful.
Yeah, I might have, and meant it. Okay, you win. You're not only beautiful and fascinating and unpredictable, but you're too fast a worker for me. How come?
How come what?
All this.
You're not happy about taking a drive with me, Mr. Barclay?
I'm delirious. But why me? What have I got?
Well, you're not unattractive, you know.
Yeah, but baby, you never saw me before. How do you know what I'm like?
Perhaps I like to take chances.
Didn't your mother ever warn you about picking up strange men on the street?
My mother was rather unusual, Mr. Barclay. She taught me that when I wanted something, there was only one thing to do. Get out and find it.
Okay, who's kicking? You'll pardon me if I pinch myself. This is something I wouldn't have believed. Sort of like an angel from heaven dropping in your lap.
Oh, I'm no angel, Mr. Barclay. Would you like a drink?
You're driving.
Then come on, we'll go in.
Oh, it's the swankiest roadhouse I ever saw.
Oh, it's not a roadhouse. I live here. Come on.
It's not a bad little place to hang your hat.
Hang it, then. We like it here.
Probably have 2 or 3 scattered around the country.
Oh, no. Just a cabin at Lake Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Well, I gather you're not worrying much about any wolves howling at your door.
Not that kind, anyway.
The guy that owns this place must be a movie producer. Your father?
My father. And he's not a movie producer, just an art collector. Perhaps you'd like to take a look around. We have some very nice paintings scattered all over the house.
You think we can find our way without a guide?
There's no one else here, if that's what you mean. We only have one servant now. This is her night off.
Cozy, isn't it? The whole place to ourselves, all 50 rooms.
Oh, it's not that bad. We'll take a look as soon as we have that drink I promised you.
You feel like pinching yourself, don't you, Ben? This is the kind of thing that just doesn't happen. But it's real. She's real. And she's even more attractive than she looked in the car. And it isn't the cocktails you've had. Finally, she leads you into the library.
Like this room, Ben?
Very much. Always wanted something like this.
The right sort of library is good for a man. I designed this myself.
Mm-hmm. Even no interior decorating, huh? You're, pretty complete.
Thank you. Van, fix yourself another drink. The decanter is over there. I'll be right back.
Take your time. This is all very pleasant.
You fix another drink, sink into a big leather chair, and relax. When you open your eyes a few minutes later, she's back, smiling down at you.
Hello.
Hello again. Oh, I see your glass is empty. Well, that's easily remedied. I'll pour you another one.
Yeah, this is nice work, if you can get it.
Here you are.
Thank you. Nice perfume you're wearing.
Like it?
I like everything about you.
Good. Then you won't mind doing something for me, will you?
Anything, short of murder.
Walk over here.
To the closet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, open the door. There's something I want you to see.
Okay. I'll play games with you. Hey, I thought you said we were alone.
We are, Mr. Barkley. Because, you see, the gentleman in the closet is quite dead.
It's a great deal more than you bargained for, isn't it, Ben? Yes. When you stepped into the car at the invitation of the beautiful blonde, you didn't realize what kind of a ride was ahead. It was like a dream, wasn't it? Going to her home, having cocktails, and relaxing. And then in the library, you looked into the closet. Fantastic, Dan. Your mind spins, almost unable to cope with the situation, as you stare down at the quiet figure of a dead man on the floor of the closet. You scarcely hear the girl beside you.
You'll help me, won't you?
Huh? What'd you say?
All you have to do is help me hide him permanently.
Now, wait a
There's
minute.
a place out in the garden where some newly turned earth wouldn't be noticed, but I'm not much good at digging graves.
Baby. You can count me out. I don't know how this guy happens to have a hole in his head, and I'm not asking any questions, but just count me out on any part of his
You
deal.
said you'd do anything for me.
Yeah, but I don't go off the deep end for anybody, especially for a girl who's in the habit of keeping dead bodies lying around. No, lady. Pardon me. Well, I'll be seeing you.
I think you'd better wait, Mr. Barkley.
Oh. Yeah. See what you mean. I see you're wearing a gun, too.
Uh-huh. And I assure you I know how to use it.
How can I doubt that, with the evidence staring me in the face?
Good. Then if you'll just pick up our late departed friend and come with me, I'll show you the place.
You know that business about your being no angel? I'm just about convinced.
You carry the body downstairs as she demands and go out into the garden.
There's a shovel. Start digging. Like I said, dig it big.
Sounds like a beach near here.
The back of the yard drops off to the beach. But never mind, you've got other things to do. Dig deep and wide.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, baby.
A heavy shovel full of dirt in her face knocks her off her feet. At the same time, you're leaping clear, racing for the drop-off at the back of the property. It's a wild, frightening scramble down through the rock and brush until you hit the beach, running hard. There are no shots, no footsteps. You're away, Van. Free. Far down the beach, you work your way back up to the highway, catch the bus for town in the safety of your hotel room. You're too upset to decide what to do that night. You want to call the police. But the memory of that blonde hair and those pale blue eyes stops you. You want to be sure before doing anything that will send her to the gas chamber. You turn in without deciding. Next morning, when you go downstairs, the desk clerk hands you something.
Good morning, Mr. Barkley. Morning. What's this? A young lady left it late last night. Well, there's nothing written on the envelope. She just told me to put it in your box. Oh, well, thanks.
That looks awful green.
Yeah, $100 bill.
And no note, no nothing?
No.
I wish I knew your secret, Mr. Barkley.
You'd like to know that secret yourself, wouldn't you, Van? Now more than ever. $100 to pay for your silence. And probably a chance of more if you live up to the bargain. But there's also a chance to play it smart, isn't there? If you can find out more about this girl, her name, what's behind it all. You catch the bus again, and as you approach the big house, there seems to be quite a few people around. At the gas station on the corner, you find out why.
All set, Mr. Armstrong. Anything else?
That's all, Joe. Thanks.
Hi there. What can I do for you, mister? Run out of gas or something?
No, I was just walking, and I saw there was some kind of excitement around here.
Yeah, more than we've had in a long time. They found a body down on the beach this morning.
Oh? Somebody drowned?
Maybe so. But he got a bullet hole through his forehead first.
Oh, murder, huh?
Yeah, looks that way. Guy named Alfred Hamilton. Lived right up the street.
Over in that house?
Ridgely's? Oh, no. He used to be over there a lot, but he didn't live there.
Well, I noticed that there was a police car out in front.
No, that's part of the excitement. Not only is this friend of the Ridgely's bumped off, but Doris is missing.
Doris?
Yeah, Doris Ridgely. Mr. Ridgely's daughter.
Oh, that's Ridgely, the art collector?
Sure, you know. He's about the richest person in the neighborhood. Nice man, too.
Mm-hmm. And Doris, his daughter. I remember. I've seen her. She's a blonde, isn't she? Good looking?
That isn't the word for that girl. She's a peach, and she's beautiful.
Yes, but rather hard and spoiled.
Doris? No. Why, there isn't a nicer girl in town. And I ought to know. I've been taking care of her car ever since she started to drive. I sure hate to see her mixed up in anything like this. And missing, too. Why, she might be in the ocean herself, only her car is gone, too.
They think she murdered this guy, Hamilton?
I don't know. But if you ask me, she couldn't have. She's too regular. And if she did, she had a good reason. Hamilton was no good. I never could understand why Doris and old man Ridgely put up with him.
There's just two of them live there, huh?
Yeah, Mrs. Ridgely died a while back. Gosh, I hope they find the girl okay. He'd just about kill the old man if anything happened to her.
Yeah. When was this guy murdered?
Last night. And I can tell you exactly when. 10 minutes to 8 on the nose.
Oh? How can you be sure?
Because I heard the shot. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but I did notice what time it was, because I was just getting ready to close up.
Did you tell the police that?
Sure.
Where did the shot come from?
How should I know? It was just a noise. Maybe from the house over there, maybe from the beach where they found him.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Hey, say, who are you anyway?
Nobody important. So long.
As you walk away, you feel sure about one thing. That Doris didn't murder Hamilton at all. She was covering for somebody else, wasn't she, Van? And you've got to find her and bring her back. But where is she? Suddenly it hits you. The cabin she mentioned. Yes, at Anderson Lake. You decide quickly, Van. Next stop, Anderson Lake.
Hello there, young fella. What can I do for you? Got everything here a body needs. Groceries, notions, drugs, fishing, tackle.
Oh, no, I was looking for somebody, Pop. Thought maybe you could give me directions.
Well, I'm the person to come to. Can tell you about anybody in Anderson Lake. And who you looking for?
Doris Ridgely. She's got a cabin up here, hasn't she?
Yep.
Well, how do I get there?
You don't.
Huh? Why not?
Wouldn't do you no good.
Why not?
Nobody there.
But I'm sure Doris is up here, and I've got to find her.
Well, if you got eyes in your head, you wouldn't have to go to no cabin.
Huh?
If you look across the street over there, you'll see her car in front of Jake's Cafe. She's eating inside.
Okay. Thanks, Pop.
He's in Jake's Cafe. And you wait outside until she comes out. As she gets into the convertible, you slip around the other side and open the door.
Hello, baby. It's a nice day for a drive, isn't it?
Mr. Barkley.
Don't reach for your bag. I'll take it instead. I'll take a look inside, too. Yeah, just as I thought, the gun. You still got it. Well, I'll just keep it this time if you don't mind.
Look, Mr. Barkley...
Now, just a minute. I'll do the talking this time. First, I'll give this back to you. Even if I had a price for this sort of thing, it wouldn't be $100.
It's all I had last night.
I said even if I had a price. I don't. I'll keep my mouth shut until I'm ready to talk. Or you are.
What makes you think I have anything to talk about?
Now, look, I think I know a good kid when I see one. If you're really in trouble, I'm sorry. But I don't think you are. I don't think you killed this heel, Hamilton. I think you're covering up for somebody.
No, I'm not. I killed him. He was threatening me. Threatening to tell something about me, and I killed him.
I don't believe you. All you did was try to get me to help cover up somebody else's work.
No, that's not true.
Okay, so you're not ready to talk yet. Come on, let's go for a drive.
Well...
You know, I'm sorry I had to smother you with that shovel full of dirt last night. But I didn't like the prospect of sharing that hole in the ground with Hamilton.
You mean you thought I'd... Oh, no, I never intended to do that.
Well, how'd you think you'd get away with it then? Just let me walk away to tell the cops?
I don't know.
Okay, baby, keep your chin up. Of course you don't know. You were mixed up in something you knew nothing about. Now, you couldn't have killed this guy, Hamilton, any more than you could have killed me. So, come on. Come clean.
No, I can't.
All right, now, look, whoever this is you're covering up for, they'll be found out eventually. Probably they had a good reason for doing this, from what I hear about Hamilton. But now you've got to get yourself off the spot, and me, too. We're accessories to the murder.
Yes, I know. Look, why are you doing this? Why did you come here?
I'll show you why. Does that answer your question? No talking now. Come on, start driving. We got to have a little talk with the police.
Well, Van, you found her, and she's grateful. You can see that. The way she smiles at you weakly, wonderingly. And perhaps later, when it's all over, you can pick up the dream where it left off. You think about it, you drive back to the city with her. Then as she swings the big convertible into San Vicente Boulevard, he suddenly slams on the brakes beside a police squad car.
Hey, what's the idea, baby? We don't want a squad car. We want to go to police headquarters.
Officer, arrest this man. He's wanted for murder. And be careful. He's got a gun.
You can't believe it's happening, can you, Van? But it is. And later at police headquarters, your dream is turned into a nightmare as Doris pours out a wild story to the chief of the Homicide Bureau.
Yes, they were both at my house last night. They left together. Then I heard a shot. When I went out looking, I found Mr. Barkley standing over Hamilton's body down on the beach. He'd taken his wallet.
What?
You'll find it in his pocket right now. The officer here already has the murder gun.
Are you kidding? Why, I haven't any wallet. I don't have a...
Easy now. Well, seems you do have a wallet, Mr.
You
Barkley.
see, Sergeant?
Yeah, but she put it there. She slipped it in my pocket while we were driving.
This is Hamilton's wallet, and this is the same caliber gun that killed him, Barkley.
But I tell you, I didn't kill him. It's all a lie.
Oh, hello, Mr. Ridgely. Thanks for coming right over.
That's right, Sergeant. He didn't kill him.
Dad.
It's no use, Doris. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you can't protect me.
Dad, please don't say anything.
I said it's no use, dear. You can release him, Sergeant. This young man and my daughter. I killed Hamilton. He was no good. I shot and killed him.
The surprises are hitting you like punches from a fighter, aren't they, Van? The attempted frame against you by Doris. And now, out of the blue, her father, facing the police, admitting that he killed Hamilton. You stare from one to the other, wondering and waiting. And then Doris breaks the silence.
But, Dad, you couldn't have killed Hamilton.
Why couldn't he? He just confessed. That's good enough for me.
He confessed to protect me. Dad had no reason.
He could have had the best reason in the world, blackmail. That was Hamilton's racket.
Blackmail?
That's the answer, Doris. Hamilton had been bleeding me for a long time. But a few days ago, I got the evidence to clear myself and expose him.
So you sent for him and told him. He got tough and...
I shot him. I had to. In self-defense.
Oh, look, officer, you found the gun in Hamilton's wallet on this man right here. What more do you want?
I tell you, I never saw this girl in my life until last night.
It's no use, Doris. It happened exactly as I said.
No, Dad, I know you didn't do it.
There's only one way you could know, Miss Ridgely.
Yes, Sergeant. There's only one way I could know.
I tell you, my daughter is lying.
Mr. Ridgely is right, Sergeant.
Oh, hello, Lieutenant. Find anything?
Plenty. His daughter's lying to protect him. We know from the gas station attendant's testimony that the shot that killed Hamilton was fired last night at 10 minutes to 8. We've checked every move of Miss Ridgely's, and at 10 minutes of 8, she was seen buying a pack of cigarettes at the corner drugstore.
Then it was Mr. Ridgely.
Mr. Ridgely left Hamilton in his living room last night somewhere around 7 o'clock. Probably after telling him he was going to expose him to the police. At 10 minutes to 8, Mr. Ridgely was seen having a drink at the Sea House.
So, Barkley, you did take Hamilton's wallet. It was your gun.
I tell you, I never even heard of any of these people.
It wasn't young Romeo here either.
And who?
Alfred Hamilton committed suicide.
Suicide?
That's right. There's no doubt about it. Powder burns on his face. He was left-handed. The angle of the bullet in the left temple shows the wound was self-inflicted. Hand tests prove beyond a doubt that Hamilton fired a shot a few seconds before his death. I guess when he realized Mr. Ridgely was going to expose him to the police, he just couldn't take it. Now, Mr. Ridgely, if you'll come into my office a minute, I'll show you the reports.
Dad, we'll wait in the car.
I'll be along in a minute, Doris.
Well, baby, you gave me a nice ride. A very nice ride.
Oh, honestly, Van, I'm terribly sorry, but I was worried crazy about Dad. Van, do you think we could have that drink again? Sometime, maybe?
Oh, look, you're a nice kid. You're beautiful, fascinating, all those things. Especially beautiful. But, baby, if you ever see me walking down the street again, just go on by. Please.
Featured in tonight's story were Jack Webb and Joan Banks. The Whistler was produced and directed by George W. Allen, with story by Hazel Lytle and John Dunkel, music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call that the body of a man has been found in an alley. He's been strangled with his own necktie. The body has been robbed. There's no lead to the killer. Your job, find him. Thousands are changing to Chesterfield, both regular and king size, because Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both sizes.
That means king-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette.
It's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield, and there's enough to give you more than a 1/5 longer smoke. Yes, more than a 1/5 longer smoke from king-size Chesterfield.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Premium quality Chesterfield, and much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, February 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. We'd gotten the call at 8:36 a.m., and it was 8:49 a.m. when we got to the corner of 18th and Winfield, the back alley.
Must be it there.
Yeah, there's Harper.
Sergeant, back here. Hi, Friday, Smith.
Harper, where is he?
Back here.
Who found him?
The fellow gives his name is Alexander Jones.
Where's he now?
Al's got him out in the car. Figured you want to talk to him. Pretty bad off.
Yeah.
Must have had himself a real time last night. He's seeing things this morning. We picked him up just coming out of the alley. Stopped to talk to him. It looked like he was having a real rough time.
Jones, huh?
Yeah, probably not his real name. I've seen him around here before. Here's the body.
Strangled.
Yeah, an ambulance is here. Here's a slip. He was DOA.
Yeah. See how the tie's pulled up out of the shirt.
Looks like he was robbed. Pockets all turned inside out.
You want to call the crime lab, Frank?
Yeah.
Found a couple of footprints over here in the gutter. Heel indentation looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Put this box over him. I don't know if they'll mean anything. Thought I'd better keep them for you, though.
Mm-hmm. It's like the body was dragged back here, doesn't it? Marks in the dirt.
Yeah.
How about the neighborhood, Harper? Anybody around here see anything?
Well, I don't know. There wasn't anybody on the streets when we picked up this Jones guy. Haven't had a chance to canvass the area. Didn't want to leave here, you know.
Yeah. Well, we better call the office head and send out a couple of men.
Call Lee. He'll be right out. Got him at home. He's sound asleep. Said he'd call the lab and have Alan bring the stuff out and Lee'd come right here.
How about the coroner?
He's on his way.
Well, I want to call the office, Frank, and get some help checking the stores around, see if anybody heard anything.
I used the phone and cigar store on the corner. Guy in there said he opened up about 7:15. Said he didn't know anything about it. Store's back door is right there. See the one with the cigar posters on it?
Yeah. All right, come on. I'll call in and then we can check some of the other places, huh?
All right.
I'll wait here, Sergeant, until the rest of them come.
Fine, thanks, Harper. We'll be in the stores around the street side there.
Okay.
Let us know when Lee gets here, will you?
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I don't know. The way he's dressed there, good clothes, looked like he had money. Doesn't figure, does it?
Yeah?
What was he doing down here? 9:12 a.m. I called the office and 2 teams of men were sent out to help us canvass the area. Frank and I checked with the owner of a liquor store who was getting ready to open for business. He told us that he'd come in early that morning to clean up his store and that he'd taken a load of trash out into the alley at about 8:25 a.m. But at that time, he hadn't seen the body. He went on to say, however, that it was possible that it might have been there and he just didn't notice it. 9:26 a.m. Sergeant J. Allen and Lieutenant Lee Jones from the crime lab arrived and began collecting the physical evidence. The body and the surrounding area were photographed. Photographs were taken of the footprints that Officer Harper had found. They were compared with the shoes worn by the victim, but they didn't match. The coroner went through the dead man's pockets but found nothing. Everything had been removed, all his personal effects, if any. The crew from the crime lab went through the alley and found a wallet behind the garbage cans at the rear of the liquor store. There was no money in it, but other papers hadn't been disturbed. Driver's license, Social Security card, and several business cards in the wallet bore the name of Arthur McKinley. The description on the license matched that of the victim. Comparison of the thumbprint on the driver's license with those taken from the body matched. McKinley's home address was listed as 9722 Willetta Street in Hollywood. The coroner removed the body. 10:52 a.m., Frank and I talked to Alex Jones, the man who had been in the alley where the body had been found. We had him take everything out of his pockets.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kill anybody.
We didn't say you did. All we want to know is what were you doing in that alley?
I went there to get away.
From what?
People. They're no good. None of them no good.
You got a job?
Yeah, I work.
What do you do?
Wash dishes sometimes.
Pearl diver?
No, sir. I'm no pearl diver. I'm a bartender. I don't feel so good. You got anything to drink around here?
You know better than that, don't you?
No, I didn't mean booze. Something cold. It feels like somebody's closed a valve in my head. It feels like it's going to blow apart. And there's something, anything, as long as it's cold.
How about a Coke?
Yeah, be fine.
I'll get it for you. Want one, Joe?
No, thanks.
Mind if I go with you? Kind of stuffy in here.
All right, come on. We'll all walk down. You ever been arrested, Alex?
Yeah, a couple of times. Picked me up for being drunk.
What's your real name, Alex?
Stafford. Alex Stafford, that's the truth.
Where you from?
Kansas.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing out here?
Figured that when I got out of the service, I'd come out here and go to work.
Yeah?
Got out here, spent a couple of days looking for a job, had my muster and out pay about $400. Figured I didn't have to go to work right away.
Just a second. All right, here you go.
Thanks.
You want one, Frank?
No, thanks. I want to check R&I and see if they finished the run on McKinley yet.
It's sure cold. Tastes good. Feel better.
That's fine. All right, let's go. Frank, see you back at the interrogation room.
Okay, Joe.
Want to stop at the office, give the coroner's office a call?
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I figured that I didn't have to come up with a job right away, so I started to see the town. Try to find a place to work where I could maybe do some good.
What?
Where I could do some good. Where the tips would be good, nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went around to the bars, talked to the bartenders, checking around. Each of the places I'd have a drink, just to be sociable.
Yeah?
It wasn't long before my dough was gone. I was flat broke, kicked out of my room. You can't blame the landlady. She carried me for a couple of months. Finally said I had to go.
All right, go ahead. What do you mean when you said that you were running away from people?
I got a job yesterday, washing dishes in a restaurant down on Spring. I worked like a dog. When I left last night, they paid me. I guess the boss knew I didn't have any money, no place to sleep.
Yeah.
I started to find a bed. And then I got to thinking that a drink might make me sleep better. So I stopped at a bar and had a couple. I had a couple more. I guess I fell asleep.
Yeah?
And anyway, I went into the alley, that one where you found the dead man, and I sat down and I went to sleep again. When I woke up, I was walking out when the cop in the car stopped me.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I didn't know the man was in there. Honest, I didn't. Now, you gotta believe me, 'cause somebody's gotta believe me. I didn't know he was there.
Anything?
Not on McKinley. Found Alex record.
Yeah.
Like you said, a couple of drunk arrests, that's all.
I told you. Didn't I tell you that? Huh? I got nothing to hide. I didn't even know the man was there.
All right, take it easy. Anything from the coroner?
Yeah, Joe, I called. Fixes the time of death at about 11:30 last night. Body hasn't been posted yet.
All right. You prove where you were at 11:30 last night, can you, Alex?
I don't know. I was someplace.
Yeah, we know that, but where?
Well, I got to think. 11:30. I was still working. I was washing dishes in the place over on Spring.
You can prove that, can you?
Yeah, sure. The boss, he'll tell you. He saw me. I didn't leave until 12. That's when I left the place. 12 o'clock, he'll tell you. 12 midnight.
All right, Alex.
Can I go now?
Well, we got to put in a call first. Maybe it might be better if we held you over a little while.
Why? I haven't done anything.
Well, it's against the law to be drunk on the streets. You know that, Alex.
Yeah, I guess I did. You gonna put me in jail?
No, we're going to have to book you. The judge will decide where you're going to go. Probably be the county work farm.
Yeah. It was probably better that way. Give me a chance to get off the booze. Well, I had it this time. Seeing those things. Just one thing, Sergeant?
Yeah?
I want to make sure you understand that you really believe me.
What's that, Alex?
I'm not a dishwasher. I'm a bartender.
12:18 p.m. We had Alex Stafford booked at the main jail on a charge of violation of 4127 LAMC, drunk. We called the place where he'd been employed and found that he'd been telling the truth about the time he had left the restaurant on Spring Street. 1:36 p.m. We drove out to McKinley's home in Hollywood. It was a small stucco cottage set into the side of a hill. In front of the house, there was a boy's bicycle and a smaller child's wagon. Frank rang the bell and we waited.
Yes?
Miss McKinley?
Yes, that's right. What do you want?
Police officers, ma'am. We'd like to talk to you.
It's about Arthur, isn't it? Isn't it?
It might be better if we talked inside, Mrs. McKinley.
All right. Come on in. You have to excuse the way the house looks. I haven't felt like cleaning it up. I've been so worried about Arthur.
That's quite all right, ma'am.
Now, what is it you want to tell me about him? He's dead, isn't he? You don't have to lie about it. I know he's dead. I spent the whole night thinking about it. You can probably tell I haven't gotten any sleep. I don't want you to lie about it. I want the truth. Arthur's dead, isn't he?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
I'll have to sit down.
Was something we can get for you, Miss McKinley? Water? Something like that?
No. Nothing.
Why do you say you knew your husband was dead, ma'am?
I just knew it, that's all. I can't tell you how. I can't put it into words, but I just knew it, that's all. When he called last night, I knew.
What time was that, ma'am?
About 6:30. Said he was just leaving the shop and that he was on his way home. It was his birthday. He's going to stop and get some beer and a couple of bottles of bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
We're having some people in. He said he was going to stop for some things. Then he said he'd be right home.
Yes, ma'am.
And the children waited up for him till 10 o'clock. That's way past their bedtime. I let them wait up. They had some presents they wanted to give their father. Arthur Jr. made a wallet and handcraft class at school, all tooled and carved and everything. It's on the table there.
Mm-hmm.
Little girl got him an ashtray. She picked it out by herself. It's on the table, too. Guess maybe you'll never get it now.
I wonder if we could call your family doctor, ma'am. You don't look like you're well.
No. I just can't believe it yet. But I know it's true. That's funny, isn't it? I know it's true, but I don't believe it. I know it's true, and I don't believe it. How did it happen? Was it an accident in the car?
No, ma'am. He was murdered.
Arthur, he was murdered?
That's right, Miss McKinley.
Miss McKinley. There's no Mr. McKinley anymore. He was murdered.
I think maybe you better let us call a doctor for you, ma'am. Get you something.
No, there's nothing a doctor can do. Nothing anybody can do. Nothing. Who did it, you know? You know who killed him?
No, ma'am, we don't. Not yet.
You said your husband called you from the shop, ma'am. What shop would that be?
It's the florist shop. Our shop. We owned it. He called me from there about 6:30 and said he'd be home. That he was going to stop for some things and then he'd be home. But he wasn't. I knew it. I knew it all night. I thought of what I'd say, what I'd do, how I'd feel, but now none of it fits. None of it seems to matter. Nothing matters much. Nothing. He said he was coming right home.
Who's your family doctor, ma'am?
What'd you say?
Your family doctor, ma'am. Who is he?
Dr. Simpkins in Hollywood. Dr. Simpkins, Hollywood, 27083.
You want to call him?
Yeah.
He said he was going to pick up a few things and come right home. My husband, Arthur McKinley. You know that, do you?
Ma'am?
There is no Mr. McKinley anymore, is there?
We called the McKinley family doctor. He arrived and gave Mrs. McKinley a sedative. Frank and I talked to her before it took effect. We asked her about her husband's friends, his business associates. She could give us no new leads. She told us that her husband usually brought the weekend receipts from the store home with him on Sunday night so that he could make out the deposit slip for the bank. She said that he usually had about $300 to $400 on Sunday night. She gave us the name of the liquor store where he did business. 2:47 p.m., Frank and I drove out to the store.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
Mr. Kennedy?
Good night.
Police officer, Mr. Kennedy. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure, anything to help the police. Nothing that I've done, is it?
No, sir. It's about Arthur McKinley.
He get home last night? His wife called, seemed pretty upset. Nothing wrong, is there?
Was Mr. McKinley in here last night, sir?
Yeah, he was. Let's see, I guess it's about 6:45. Come in, got a case of beer, a couple of bottles of bourbon.
Uh-huh. Was there anybody with him when he came in?
No, there wasn't.
Did he seem all right to you when he was here?
What do you mean?
Well, was he in good spirits? Did he act like anything was wrong?
No, of course that don't mean anything.
Sir?
Well, even if there was anything wrong with Arthur, you'd never know it. Always laughing, always had a joke. He had a great one last night, real funny.
Yeah?
He told the one about the two musicians that were walking down the railroad track, and one of them said to the other, "Boy, this is the longest stairway I ever been down."
Well, yes, sir.
And then the other musician said, "I don't mind that, but these low banisters are killing me." Low banisters. Say, what's this all about anyway? Something happened to Arthur?
He's been murdered, Mr. Kennedy.
Arthur? Arthur McKinley? You sure?
Yes, sir. We're sure.
How about that? Only last night I saw him laughing away. He was killed. You know who did it?
No, sir, not yet.
How about that? But his wife's pretty upset.
Do you know anyone who might want to kill him?
No, not Arthur.
Anybody in the neighborhood he had quarrels with? Any disagreements?
No, not I can think of.
Well, has there been anybody new, anybody you don't know hanging around the neighborhood lately? Anybody who could have known about McKinley's carrying that money around with him?
Well, let me think. Yeah, come to think about it, there is a fella. Seen him around the last couple of days. Matter of fact, I saw him last night when I helped Arthur carry the beer out to the car. Sure, that's where I saw him.
Sir?
He was in the car with Arthur.
February 10th, 3:50 p.m. We continued to question John Kennedy. He told us that when Arthur McKinley had left the liquor store, he had carried a case of beer out to the car for him. Kennedy said there was a man waiting in the car. The liquor store owner told us that he had seen the man in the neighborhood on several previous occasions. that the man had talked to most of the shopkeepers in the vicinity asking for odd jobs. Kennedy went on to say that he had hired him himself once to wash the front windows of the store. He gave us a complete description, and Frank called it into the office. A local and an APB were gotten out on him. Kennedy was unable to give us his name or tell us where the suspect might live. He agreed to go downtown to the city hall and look through the mug books for us. He called his brother down to take charge of the store, and as soon as he arrived, Kennedy was taken down to the office. 5:17 p.m. We drove back to the McKinley home. Mrs. McKinley had recovered from the initial shock of finding out that her husband was dead. We asked her if she knew where her husband's car was, and she told us that as far as she knew, he had driven it the night before, and that she hadn't seen it since. She gave us the description and license number, and we called it into the office. A broadcast was gotten out on it. We asked Mrs. McKinley to go with us to her husband's store, and she agreed. On a table in back of the store, we found 2 empty beer bottles and a couple of glasses. Leighton Prince was called, and they came out and lifted 2 sets of fingerprints from the bottles and the glasses. Crime Lab came out and photographed the place. There was no sign of a struggle, but there was evidence that there had been a party there the night before. We drove Mrs. McKinley back to her home, and at 8:13 p.m., Frank and I checked back into the city hall.
Long day, huh, Joe?
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired. What do you want to eat tonight?
Doesn't make any difference. Go ahead.
Right. I get it. Homicide Friday. Yeah, Dean. Mm-hmm. They did, huh? Who? Oh, let me get that. Yeah, I got it. Okay, thanks, Dean. Yeah, you bet. Good night. It was Bergman. They made the prints on that bottle and glass.
Yeah?
A fellow named Fred Gerard. Did time for armed robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
We like to give you the facts about Chesterfield so you can be your own judge.
Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to tell you what it's made of. The world's best tobaccos, kept tasty and fresh by pure and costly moistening agents, the best that money can buy. And Chesterfield cigarette paper is of the highest purity.
Now, Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to present this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfields for an average of 10 years. He reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Sunday, February 10th, 8:30 p.m. Frank and I pulled a package on Fred Gerard. He'd been arrested in 1942 on a charge of violation of 211 PC. He'd been convicted and had served 5 years in the penitentiary at San Quentin. We checked back with John Kennedy, the man who had seen Arthur McKinley leave the liquor store in the company of the man we figured to be the murderer. When we entered the mug room, he was talking to Sergeants Joe LaMonica and Danny Galindo. They told us that so far he had been unable to identify the man he had seen with McKinley. We showed him a mug shot of Gerard, and he positively identified it. Kennedy went on to say that as far as he was concerned, there could be no mistake, and that as far as he knew, Gerard was the last man seen with the victim before his death. McKinley's car had been found 2 blocks from the alley where we'd found the body. In the back of it, the officers found the remainder of the case of beer and the 2 bottles of bourbon. Leighton Prince went out and dusted the car. They came up with one good set of prints other than the victim's. When these were checked, it was found that they matched the file copies of Gerard's fingerprints. 9:46 p.m. We drove out to the address listed in Gerard's package. His landlady showed us to his room. It was evident that he hadn't been in it the night before. Frank and I waited for him to return. 10 p.m. 11. 11:30.
What are you doing here?
You Fred Gerard?
Yeah, that's right. Who are you?
Police officers.
Oh, cops. What do you want with me?
You know a man named Arthur McKinley?
Why?
You know him?
Yeah, I know him. Anything wrong with that?
When'd you see him last?
Last night.
Where?
At his store. I came by about 6:15. We talked for a while, and then he closed the store. He said he had to get home for a birthday party, something like that. We went down the street to Kennedy's to get some beer, and then he went back to the store. I iced a couple, and then I left.
What time was that?
Well, I guess about 8:30 or so. I had to meet a guy out in Santa Monica, so I left.
You left McKinley at his store?
Yeah, that's right. So what's this all about? What do you give me problems for? I haven't done anything.
All right, take everything out of your pockets. Put it right down here.
Look, you got no right to barge in here, tell me what to do. I'm clean.
And you got no reason for not cooperating now, have you?
Well, I suppose not.
Then take everything out of your pockets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keys.
Your money in your wallet?
Yeah.
How much you got?
I don't know. I have to count it.
All right, count it.
Let's see. 5, 6, 7, 8 bucks and 6, 7, 8, 9, 92 cents. Canadian penny.
Was there anybody with McKinley and you when you were drinking?
No, just went in the back of the store to have a beer, a little talk. We got along pretty good. He used to hire me once in a while, clean up the store, sweep out, things like that. Mm.
Yeah. Was he feeling all right when you left him?
I guess so. I didn't ask him, but he didn't say anything about it. Just said he had to get home for a party, that his wife would be hacked if he was late. Like I said, I left at 9:15. You might ask Stu Bennett. He might be able to tell you something.
Who's he?
Owns a little grocery just down the street from McKinley.
You say he might know about McKinley?
Yeah, he was there when I left. I was walking out, and when Mr. McKinley opened the door, Bennett was walking by. He said he had some things he wanted to talk to McKinley about.
Uh-huh.
And when I left, Bennett went into the store. What's this all about, anyway? Something happened, McKinley?
He's been murdered.
Oh, no kid. He's a nice guy. You figured I did it, huh?
That's the way it looked.
Yeah. Well, I did some time. I won't try to con you. You'll probably know all about it anyway. I wouldn't kill anybody, though. I'm going straight. I've been working every day since I got out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, though.
Yeah?
You might talk to Stu Bennett. He was with him when I left.
Fred Gerard gave us a complete description of Stuart Bennett. We called the name into R&I, but he had no record. We checked Bennett's store and found a card on the front door that gave his home address. Frank and I drove out to his house. He lived in a new apartment development in the southwest section of town. Monday morning, 12:47 a.m. We rang the bell to his apartment. He's probably asleep.
Yeah. Want to try it again?
No.
Who is it?
Like to talk to you.
Just a minute.
Yeah? Police officers. I'm Frank Smith. This is my partner, Joe Friday.
How do you do? Want to come in?
Right.
Well, what is it you wanted to talk to me about?
You know a man named Arthur McKinley? Do you?
I knew you'd find out. I knew it right after it happened. Knew it right away.
All right, you want to get dressed?
Yeah, all right. I came home last night after it happened. I thought about it. I thought and thought. I wanted to go and tell you about it. I knew that I'd done a terrible thing. Killed Arthur. Killed another human being. You got to understand one thing, Mr. Friday.
What's that?
It's important to me. I'm not a vicious man.
Why'd you kill him?
Well, I stopped last night to talk to him about all of us getting together as sort of a pool. Hiring Fred to sort of take care of all the stores. That's what I went to see him about. I thought it'd be nice to have someone to take care of the stores, you know, wash the windows, sweep up, and we'd all chip in and pay him. Sort of a pool, like I said.
Yeah?
We talked. Arthur wasn't too much in favor of the idea. Said he'd been thinking about giving Fred a regular job in the flower shop. Said things were real good with him. He thought he'd take on an assistant. Things were going real fine for him.
All right. You better get dressed. We'll go downtown.
After I killed him, I took him out of the store and put him in an alley.
Yeah?
Now, I wanted to come and tell you about it. I went down to City Hall. I walked up the stairs on Spring Street. You know the big ones?
Yeah.
I was going to give myself up. I wanted to tell you about it. And then when I got there, the doors were closed. The sign said to use the Main Street entrance. I sat down on the stairs. Sat there for a long time. I thought about telling somebody about what I'd done. And then I walked around by the police department. On the walk, it goes around. I looked in the window and saw the detectives. I wanted to go right in and tell them about it.
All right. Come on. Get your clothes on. Let's go.
Now, that should prove it to you.
What's that?
I'm not a vicious man.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 5th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, remember now, Chesterfield is first to present this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfields for an average of 10 years. He reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Stuart Carlisle Bennett was tried and found guilty of murder in the first degree. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. Murder in the first degree is punishable by death or by confinement in the state penitentiary for life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Eddie Firestone, Carolyn Jones, Herb Bygren. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, more adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator, on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. The body of a dead man has been found in the rear of his shop. He has been brutally beaten to death. The killer is unknown. Your job, find him. Thousands are changing to Chesterfield, both regular and king size, because Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both sizes.
That means king-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette.
It's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield is larger, contains so much more of the same tobaccos, it gives more than a fifth longer smoke. Yes, more than a fifth longer smoke.
So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Buy 'em either way you like 'em. Premium quality Chesterfield, and much milder.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 5th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
That you, Joe?
Yeah. How's it going?
Don't ask me.
What's the matter?
Went to the beach yesterday. Got so sunburned I could hardly sleep last night. I'm just miserable, Joe. It's going to be a week before I can wear a shirt without feeling I got army blanket on.
Well, can't you get something for it? Something to make it feel a little better anyway?
Don't bring that up either.
What's that?
If you've got any homemade remedies for sunburn, keep them to yourself. I've had them for now.
Yeah, why? What's the matter?
Like I said, we went to the beach yesterday. Beautiful day. They fixed up a lunch, sandwiches, potato salad, deviled eggs, all that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
We went down to Castle Rock, down the highway.
Yeah.
Just had a ball. Just great. Kids played in the water, and then when it got dark, we had a few 4th of July things for them. Sparklers, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got home, and I started to feel it.
What, the sunburn?
Yeah. Back feels like it's on fire, Joe. Legs feel like I got them in hot oil. Believe me, it's terrible. Took off my shirt, pants at home, just sitting there in my shorts. I was trying to figure out some way to stop the burning,
Yeah.
Well, it happened. In comes Armand.
Well, that's your brother-in-law, huh?
Yeah. He's read in some magazine where tea is the stuff for burns. Right away he starts brewing tea.
Tea? The kind you drink?
Yeah. Tells me to lay down on the floor, right flat on my stomach. I was feeling so miserable I'd have done anything to get rid of the feeling, so I did just lay there. And he starts putting tea leaves all up and down my back of my legs, and felt real good at first, kind of cool,
Yeah. And all this time you're laying on your stomach there.
Yeah, right in the middle of the living room floor. He put papers down first, so the tea wouldn't drip all over the floor.
Well, you brew this stuff first.
Yeah, and then they put the tea leaves on me, but then the tea leaves started to dry. They crinkled all up, and the pain came back. Just miserable, Joe.
Well, did it do any good at all?
I don't know. They finally took it off and put some kind of ointment on my back. Helped a little. Had to sleep on my stomach all night. Couldn't turn over. I just lay real still. Once in a while, I'd fall asleep and roll over, and wow, I'd wake right up with the pain. I tell you, Joe, I didn't sleep at all. Not a wink.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't see what you're blaming Armand for. Seems like he did try to help you out, though.
Oh, sure, he tried. Whole thing was his fault. If he'd kept his big mouth shut, everything would have been all right.
How do you figure that?
The picnic. It was his idea, Joe.
It's a hot shot. I'll get it.
What is it?
Killing down on Bixel. 8:14 a.m. We arrived at the address on South Bixel. It was a small neighborhood pawn shop. A radio car had arrived, and the 2 officers had cleared the crowd away from the entrance of the store. One of the officers showed us through a curtain into the back room. Everything was smashed. Glass cases were demolished. Clothing from the shelves had been torn down and thrown all over the floor. At one side of the room, a closet door was half open, and in the closet was the body of a man. We started to talk with George Armstrong, the victim's partner.
Terrible. I don't want to look anymore. I don't want to believe it. Anybody would do this to Mark.
Mark? Is that your partner's name?
Yes, Mark Williams. My friend. We've been together the last 15 years. Knew each other for 10 years before that. I don't want to think about it.
Would you like to step out here, sir? Front part of the store?
Well, would it be all right?
Yes, it'd be fine.
I'll call the crime lab, Joe.
All right, good.
Where's the phone, sir?
It's back there on the wall.
Thanks.
I'd like to ask you some questions, if it'd be all right.
Yes?
You discovered the body, is that right?
Well, yes. This morning when I came in, I opened the store like I always do about, I think, about 7:45, I guess it was. Something like that.
I see.
I opened the front door like I usually do, and then I came in and put the water on for some tea. You can see there, see that hot plate? Mark and I usually have a cup of tea when he comes in.
I see.
Well, then I went to the back room to hang up my coat. First, I thought that somebody had tried to rob the place.
Mm-hmm.
Way things, were scattered all over. Then I saw Mark laying on the floor, and I called you.
They're on the way, Joe.
Okay. Did you always open up the store by yourself, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes. I don't know how it started, but somewhere along the line, I'd open up the place, and then Mark would clean up the shop and close. It's been that way for years.
Mm-hmm. When did you last see Mr. Williams? That is, when did you see him alive?
Saturday night. I left about 5:45. He was closing the place up. I told him that I'd meet him for breakfast Sunday morning. He wasn't there. I tried to call him at home, but there wasn't any answer. His landlady hadn't seen him.
Was he married, do you know?
No, he wasn't married. Same thing happened to both of us. Neither one of us married.
What's that, sir?
Well, you see, Mark and I are both in love with the same girl when we were younger. We used to take her to the park in the summer, listen to the band, concert. 3 of us, we used to go every place together. Like I said, both of us were in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, things went along just fine for a year or so, and then she got married to someone else. Mark and I were pretty sad about it. Couldn't blame the girl, though. The guy she married was rich. He had a big house. It was a good family. We didn't have much of anything. No, neither of us married. Just never seemed to find a girl who compared with Kate.
Kate?
Kate Dillon. She's a lovely girl.
This meeting you were going to have yesterday morning, was that a regular thing?
Oh, yes, it was. You see, about the only relaxation Mark and I had was bowling on the green.
Bowling?
Mm-hmm. Every Sunday that it didn't rain, we'd meet for breakfast, then catch a bus out to Exposition Park. Bowling club out there. Mark and I both belong. Mark was a sort of local champion. Played a real good game.
Well, didn't you think that anything was wrong when he didn't meet you yesterday?
Well, yes, I did. I did at first. Then I got to thinking about it, and I figured maybe he wasn't feeling too good. Just didn't want to go out to the club.
Yes, sir.
He'd get like that, moody. Just for no reason at all. Decided he didn't want to go anyplace at all. Just sit in his room. Almost always came to work, even when he was in the mood. But now and then he'd just sit up there and look out the window.
Was there any special reason for all this?
No, not that I know of. He just get like that. No special reason. When he did, you just had to sit and let the mood pass. Nothing else to do.
I see. Well, did Mr. Williams have any enemies that you'd know of? Anyone at all that might do a thing like this?
No, sir. No one.
Mm-hmm. Was he alone when you left him Saturday night?
Yes, he was straightening up the shelves, getting the things in order. But he was all by himself. No one was here.
Well, have you ever had any trouble with anyone in the neighborhood lately? Somebody who might have been looking for trouble, maybe?
Well, Sergeant, most of our customers have trouble.
Well, yes, sir, but about how much money was on the premises when you left?
Maybe $1,500.
Where'd you keep the money?
In the safe, right there. You can see for yourself it's all right.
Would you mind opening it up just to be sure?
Well, if you want me to, but I'm sure everything's okay.
If you wouldn't mind, sir.
Okay. I know there's nothing wrong here. 43. You can see for yourself that everything's okay, can't you? 16 left.
Yes, sir. We just want to be sure.
Right to 8. There. You can see it.
Uh-huh. Is the money kept in that strong box?
Yes, sir.
Who knew the combination to this safe? I mean, besides you.
Just Mark and me. We were the only ones.
Mm-hmm.
There. All the money's there.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else missing from the store? Anything that you can see?
Well, Sergeant, look around you. If there was anything, how could I tell? I'd have to take a complete inventory. Well, what difference does it make? How's it going to help Mark?
Well, it's pretty important we find out why he was killed the way he was, sir. A beating and all. If you'd look around, you might be able to come up with something.
Oh, all right, I'll look around, but I tell you, I don't think there's anything gone.
All right, if you just do that, we'll look over the back room. It'll be all right.
Pretty bad, huh, Joe?
Yeah. Looks like revenge could have been the motive, maybe, from the looks of things here.
Yeah, it'd have to be something like that. Terrible beating. The way the place is all smashed up.
Yeah. Frank?
Yeah?
Come over here.
Yeah?
Look here in the closet. You can see it there under the body.
Oh, yeah, looks like a hand axe.
Yeah.
Might have been trying to defend himself, huh?
Well, maybe.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir?
You're right, absolutely right.
What's that, sir?
Well, he did steal something. The gun case had been broken into.
Yes, sir. Anything missing?
A couple of revolvers.
8:32 a.m. The crime lab crew arrived and went over the place. In the back room, under a pile of clothes, they found a 10-inch length of lead pipe. Dean Bergman from Leighton Prints dusted the room, the safe in the store, and the lead pipe. He came up with several clean prints. He rolled the dead man's fingerprints, and then he took Armstrong's. Comparison with those he'd found eliminated all of them except a partial print on the safe. The coroner arrived and removed the body. Frank and I canvassed the neighborhood, but none of the people in the area had noticed anyone suspicious in the last few days. We called the office, and Sergeants Joe LaMonica and Howard Hudson came out to help us in the search of the vicinity. The axe found in the hands of the victim, Mark Williams, had stains on the blade. A closer check of the pawn shop showed that several articles other than the guns had been stolen. George Armstrong gave us a complete list of the missing property along with the serial numbers of the guns. 11:34 a.m. Frank and I checked back into the city hall. Frank, did you get the APBs out?
Yeah? Notified the pawn shop detail. Any word from LaMonica and Hudson?
No, not yet. At least there's nothing in the book there. I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, John. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we haven't heard from him yet. No. Where? Yeah. Yeah, well, that figures. Uh-huh. Okay, thanks. It's LaMonica. He and Hudson found a blood-stained shirt in an alley behind an apartment house a couple of blocks from the pawn shop.
Yeah?
Checked the apartment register, and they found a Wallace Holmes listed.
Holmes?
Yeah, LaMonica knows him.
Yeah?
Just served 6 months for violation of the Narcotics Act. 12:02 p.m. We ran the name Wallace Holmes through R&I. He had a record dating back almost 10 years. He'd been arrested twice for violation of the State Health and Safety Code and once on suspicion of 211 PC. We talked to the neighbors in the apartment building where he lived, but they told us that Holmes had been in bed with a bad cold for the past 3 days. Several of them had taken him food on occasion and stated positively that he could not have left the apartment. Bergman checked his fingerprints against those we'd found at the pawn shop. There was no make. A stakeout was placed on the building. 2:15 p.m. We checked with the crime lab to see if Ray Pinker had finished the tests on the physical evidence that he'd collected at the murder scene.
Looks like the lead pipe.
Can you tell us anything about the killer?
Nothing except he's WMA.
How about the other bloodstains, Ray?
Test out type O. Victim's type B.
Well, figures that he managed to hit the killer with the axe then, huh?
Possible.
How about the shirt? Did you find anything on it?
We haven't finished the tests on the dust particles we found in the pockets yet. Precipitant test shows it's human blood. Haven't had a chance to group it yet.
How about any laundry markings? Anything there, Ray?
Just about to check it. Spread it out here. You want to get those lights, Frank?
Yeah, I'll go.
Turn on this fluorescent. Yeah. Laundry marking here.
Yeah. Looks like RJ.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And there's a number there, too, isn't there?
769-02.
Anything else, Ray?
Looks like that's about it.
What laundry, would you know?
Yeah, I think so. Marking's the same type as Consolidated Central Laundry uses. It's a big place out on Pico.
Mm-hmm.
Handle cleaning for a lot of small neighborhood places in town. I can give you the address.
Okay, anything else?
Well, he had a 15 neck and a 33 sleeve.
Average size, not much help, huh?
Maybe I can give you some more when I get through the dust particles in the pockets.
Yeah, okay. Wish we had a little more to go on.
Well, you got a piece of lead pipe, a stained shirt, and an axe that looks like it's been recently used.
Yeah.
They all connect somewhere along the line.
Yeah, all we got to do is find out where. 2:58 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the Consolidated Central Laundry. We talked to the manager, and he looked through the files. He was able to tell us that the shirt had been laundered at a small cleaning place on South Hill. He gave us the address, and Frank and I drove over. We talked to the manager of the shop.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's our number, all right.
Yes, sir. Would it be possible for you to tell us who owns the shirt?
Yeah, I'll look it up in the book. Let's see, RJ 769-02.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Let's see, 642, 98, 7. Yeah, here it is. John Dunlap, address out on 3rd Street. Say, what do you want to know about the shirt for? Dunlap done something?
Oh, we're just conducting an investigation here.
Oh.
I wonder if you'd describe this Dunlap for us.
Oh, sure. I've known John for years. Been bringing us things in here for at least 8, maybe 9 years.
Could you give us a description of him, you think?
Yeah, Johnny's about my size, maybe 5'11". Weighs about 180.
How about his coloring?
Huh?
His coloring. Is he dark or light complected?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you'd say maybe sort of medium. Yeah, medium.
Does he have any marks or scars on him? Anything unusual about him?
Well, if you asked me that yesterday, I'd have said no.
How's that?
Well, up till this morning. Well, John came in this morning, and there was nothing that made him stand out up till then. He must have had an accident over the weekend, I guess.
I don't understand.
Came in this morning, his face was all scratched up.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
We like to give the facts about Chesterfield so you can be your own judge.
Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to tell you what it's made of. The world's best tobaccos. Kept tasty and fresh by pure and costly moistening agents. The best that money can buy. And Chesterfield cigarette paper is of the highest purity.
Now, Chesterfield is the first cigarette to present this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years. After 8 months, the medical specialist reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield. I'd say that means real mildness. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Monday, 5:30 p.m. Frank and I ran the name John Dunlap through R&I. We found no record on anyone answering his description. Meantime, the stakeout on Wallace Holmes' apartment where we found the bloodstained shirt continued. Ray Pinker had finished the test on the shirt and found that most of the blood on it was type B. However, there were also small traces of type O. The tests on the dust particles found in the pockets of the shirt netted us nothing. 6:15 p.m. We drove out to the address given us by the cleaning shop. It was a large apartment building. Dunlap was registered in the penthouse. We took the elevator up and rang the bell.
Yeah?
John Dunlap?
That's right. What can I do for you?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Police? What do you want with me?
Just like to talk to you.
Well, okay, come on in. You can see you caught me in the shower.
This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How you doing?
How do, sir? How you doing?
Hey, mind if I go ahead and get dressed while we talk? I got a date and I don't want to be too late.
No, it's all right. Go right ahead.
Come on in here. What is it I can do for you, officers?
Well, what if you could explain your movement Saturday night?
Saturday night?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's see. I played golf in the morning, got back from the club about 6, I guess. Miserable game, 102, lost $35. Sure was off Saturday.
Just a minute, sir. You tell us what clothes you want. We'll get them for you.
All right, hand me that shirt there, the blue one, huh?
Yeah.
Sure, a miserable game Saturday. 3-putted almost every green.
Nice-looking shirts, Dunlap.
Like them?
Well, they're nice-looking. Where do you get them?
I have them made. Can't wear store-made shirts. Neck's too long. Collar doesn't fit right.
What'd you do after you got home from the golf club?
Took a shower, then went out. Had a date. Lousy game, ruined the whole evening.
Sir?
Well, after that crummy 102, I really played the 19th hole. Got pretty loaded. By the time I got to Alice's, I was in a rare mood.
Alice?
Yeah, Alice Miller. Anyway, I was about half hour late, and she was fit to be tied. We were supposed to have dinner out in Malibu. Took us about an hour to drive out there, and Alice kept getting mad as we drove. I guess I didn't help things out any. I was in a foul mood and didn't keep it to myself.
Yeah?
Well, by the time we got there, really going at it, silly thing, no sense to the argument at all, but it just kept building. Either one of you married?
Yes, sir. My partner here is.
Well, then he knows what I mean. Well, we didn't get down to the beach till about 8:30 or 9. We got out of the car, and Alice said she wanted me to take her back home. I told her we'd just gotten there. She said she didn't care, wanted to go home.
Yeah.
I told her if she wanted to leave, it was okay with me, and I turned around to walk down to the house. You know, it's pretty dark down there.
Uh-huh.
Well, I walked right over the embankment. Must have fallen over about 6-7 feet. Didn't hurt myself much, but you can see I scratched up my face.
Yeah, we can.
Well, the long one, though, I guess it was worth it.
How's that?
Well, Alice was so scared she ran down to me, and the argument was all over. We went on into the house and had dinner.
How long were you there?
Well, I guess until, maybe 2:30, 3 in the morning. Got to playing charades. Time just went.
You happen to know what blood type you have?
What?
Your blood type. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I think it's A, but I'm not sure, though.
Uh-huh.
You said you had your shirts made to order, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Why?
Can you tell us how someone else might have gotten one of your shirts?
Hey, wait a minute. I don't think I understand just what's going on. Or what is this all about? You come in here and ask a lot of questions. What's it all for?
Just routine.
Routine what? It's not routine for me to have policemen come in and ask a lot of questions. Where was I Saturday night? Who makes my shirts? Who might have had them? Come on, what's the pitch?
All right. You know a man named Mark Williams?
Williams? No, Tom Williams sells insurance.
No, Mark Williams.
No, I don't think I know him, Mark. Anyway, what's he got to do with this?
He was killed Saturday night.
You figure maybe I did?
Well, the shirt that belongs to you was found near the scene.
My shirt?
That's right. Same label. Check the laundry markings in it. Your laundryman said it was your shirt. Said it was your number.
You talked to Harry?
Yeah, that's his name. I guess we did.
Well, I don't understand it. Hey, wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
A couple of weeks ago, I gave a half a dozen shirts to the woman who comes in to clean up the place. She might know what happened. Let me call her and find out. I got her number here someplace. Yeah, here it is. If anybody knows, she would. A couple of weeks ago, told her she could have them. I don't know what's the matter with them. Hello? Mrs. Lambert in, please? Yeah, thank you. Oh, Mrs. Lambert? This is John Dunlap. Oh, just fine. And you? That's good. No, I just want to know what you did with those shirts you took a couple of weeks ago. Well, no, Mrs. Lambert, I did give them to you. I just want to know what you did with them. Uh-huh. I see. Well, can you give me the address? Well, just a minute. I'll get a pencil. You have a pencil, officer?
Here you are.
Thank you. Now, go ahead, Mrs. Lambert. Uh-huh. 47? All right, thank you. No, don't you worry. Everything's all right. Yeah, well, thank you, Mrs. Lambert. Yeah, I'll see you then. Right, goodbye. A real character. Thought I wanted the shirts back.
Did she tell you what she did with them?
Yeah, said she sold them to a second-hand store down on Bixel.
$7:20 p.m. We drove over to talk to the cleaning woman. She gave us the same story that we'd gotten from John We went over to the second-hand store, but it was closed. The stakeout on the apartment continued. The body had been posted, and the coroner told us that Williams had been killed at approximately midnight on Saturday night. That would allow 2 hours on either side, making it possible for the murder to take place between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Frank and I checked out of the office and went home. The following morning, Tuesday, July 6th at 8:17 p.m., we checked the second-hand store where the shirts had been sold. The dealer told us that he remembered the shirts. He said that he'd bought 5 of them and had only sold 1. He was able to give us a fair description of the man he'd sold the shirt to. He went on to say that he'd heard that the man was a user of narcotics. We ran the name he gave us, Fred Harris, through R&I. He had a record of violation of the State Narcotic Act. We got out an APB and a local bulletin on him. We called Narcotics Division and notified them that we wanted Harris as a suspect. We checked the address listed on his record, but we found that he'd moved and left no forwarding address. 2 days went by. We ran down all leads, but we were able to come up with nothing new. Thursday, July 8th, 8:30 a.m., Frank and I checked back into the squad room.
Well, there's another one that didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, well, he's got to be someplace. I get it. Homicide Friday.
Oh, yeah, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, how soon will you be here? All right. Okay, right.
Anything?
Well, Monica and Hudson, they just picked Harris up. 11:20 a.m. Fred Harris was brought to the interrogation room. Frank and I talked to him for about an hour, but other than his name, he refused to tell us anything. We tried to lead him out. We talked about his family, about sports, food, everything we could think of. None of it worked. Harris remained sullen and uncooperative. 1:46 p.m.
How about some lunch, Joe?
I guess so.
Harris?
No, thanks.
Well, you suit yourself.
What do you want, Joe?
Well, ham on rye, all right. Get some coffee, too, huh?
Okay. You sure, Harris? You don't want it indeed?
No, I told you.
Okay.
All right if I smoke?
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you want to talk about it, Harris?
About what?
Why you killed Williams.
Who says I did?
That's the way it looks.
It looks wrong.
Well, you figured for yourself, Harris. When you killed the old man, you weren't very careful. You left a couple of prints around the place.
Yeah?
Shirt you wore, we got that. Found it right where you dropped it. Ran that down, leads right to you. Got the man who sold it to you. Identifies you.
Maybe he's wrong.
No, you know better than that. When they picked you up, you were carrying some of the things you stole from that pawn shop. You can't account for your time on Saturday night.
I told you I didn't do it. I didn't kill the old man. I just don't remember where I was that night. Didn't that happen to you? You go someplace and a couple of days later you can't remember where you were. Doesn't that ever happen to you?
Oh, yeah, once in a while.
Hey, you see? How you expect me to remember when you sometimes forget?
You a user?
What are you asking that for? You got the record. Look it up yourself.
Roll up your sleeve.
All right.
You're a user. You work for a living?
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you do?
Whatever I can.
When'd you last work?
A couple of weeks ago.
You haven't worked since then, huh?
No.
Where'd you get that stuff they found on you?
I don't know. Must have bought it.
Any idea where?
No.
You bought the stuff and you don't know where. Is that what you want me to believe?
Believe what you want. I don't care.
Well, here's what I believe. You tell me if I'm wrong. I think you went to the old man's pawn shop about closing time on Saturday night. You had a big yen on and no money to make a connection. You tried to rob the old man. He didn't like it and you killed him. You killed him with that hunk of lead pipe we found, the one with your fingerprints all over it. Then you tried to get the safe open and you couldn't. So you wiped it clean, grabbed what you could carry, and you ran out of the store. A couple of blocks away, you calmed down and took a look at yourself. You threw that shirt in the ash can, then you went up to Wallace Holmes' apartment to try to make a connection, didn't you?
He tell you all that?
No.
Now, come on, how about it? Holmes tell you that?
Well, look, you're a little mixed up, aren't you? You just answer, you don't ask.
Sure, he told you. You never found out if he did. My big pal, Wallace Holmes. After all I'd done for him. If I had a nickel for every pop I shared with that bum and he cops out on me, blabs everything to you. The one guy I'd have done anything for. Give the guy the shirt off your back, and this is the thanks I get.
Well, that's your big trouble, Harris.
What do you mean?
You ought to hang on to your shirts.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 15th, trial was held in Department 86, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, again this year, Chesterfield has asked me to remind you to see your own neighborhood cigarette dealer first about your Christmas shopping problems. Among many wonderful gift ideas, he's featuring the gift of the year, the Chesterfield Christmas carton. Now, to my way of thinking, it's the ideal gift because Chesterfield is the only premium quality cigarette available to you shoppers in both regular and king size. Either way, regular or king size, they're a wonderful smoke and they make fine Christmas gifts. Get them from your dealer. Premium quality Chesterfields.
Fred Richard Harris was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Olin Soule. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfields. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight it's more adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.